Hi, guys. Welcome back to the Break Room Podcast. We got a full studio. Everybody's back in the saddle.
That's right.
Yeah. Very, very good to be back live. And we got a few things we want to go over. But first and foremost, I think we should kick off with Chris's recent adventure. He had his own solo adventure. He met one of our heroes.
Right.
Why don't you tell us more about that, Chris?
So I got to meet the legendary Jim Ross. Good old JR.
Good God Almighty, he killed him! God is my witness! He is broken in half!
That's right. You know what? I knew better than to do any JR impressions because I don't think he actually takes too kindly to the JR impressions. I don't know.
He's probably heard of them.
For the money that he got paid, you know?
Yeah.
Can we? I want to hear all those funds that were exchanged. I want to hear all that.
So it was pretty cool.
Go.
First I wish some of you guys were there. I know everybody was busy and whatever, but I was like, fuck it. I woke up early in the morning. I ran to the bank. I ran to Rob's to pick up my mic because I want him to sign my microphone, which he did. You can't see it here, but his signature is on it. We'll talk about that in a second. I actually ran to Barnes & Noble because I ordered his book the night before to pick it up because I wanted him to sign his newer book that came out. And I figured he'd appreciate that too. Thanks for buying a book. Goddamn. Yeah, my goal was to have him sign this belt, which he did. I'll turn it around in a little bit so you guys can see. We got pictures. I don't really want to move it. It's in a perfect place right now. But I had JR sign the big gold. I wanted him to sign my microphone that I speak into, just so I could say I'm speaking in a microphone that JR himself held and signed. Gives me some inspiration. Had him sign his book, and then Rob wanted an autograph.
I did. So he hooked me up, and I'll show that off on the show, which is very cool. Trying to get it without the reflection. But to complete the commentary crew, I met Jerry the King a few years back.
Super cool. Move that water bottle. Get this shit out of
Get
there.
that water bottle out of there, Joe.
Get the fuck out
Get the fuck out of here! But that's the classic team. That's
There they are,
that's
the legends.
King and
I'd
JR.
really love to get King's signature. Look at that! Look at
puppies.
Oh my God, JR! So I ran to grab the book. I talked to Rob really quick, and then I also had to run to Staples to get the paint markers.
And I really wanted to come. It was my brother's birthday on the 5th. So
Understandable.
My brother had work, so we ended up hanging out on the 4th. We ended up taking him to see Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah,
in the movie theaters.
Perfectly excusable reason. So yeah, I got there. The line wasn't way too bad. I mean, I feel like I waited on a line maybe like an hour or something like that. It did get longer behind me. I don't know how long because it like went around some corner. But the line was pretty long. It moved decently quick.
They shuffle you in and out of there.
They want you in and out. And we've talked about this already when I met McFoley. I do hate autograph signings because it is a little impersonal. It is a little transactional. It's a little rushed. So when I got towards the front, I had already paid for all the signatures. So I got 5 signatures total. And it was
should have got your action figure signed. I'm surprised.
I know. I didn't want to carry too much shit there. That was the thing is I already had my belt. I had the book. I had the mic. And I had 2 8x10 pictures that I got to hold all this shit. And if I had to carry a toy on top of that, I would have been coming in there and
give me a
them
price
off even more.
So that's what
so there was a combo that they offered that for picture and autograph, and that was like a little cheaper. And then every signature after that was $45, which was pretty reasonable compared to what some other guys charge. I mean, if 50 is where it starts to get a little bit much, but for JR, I pay the $45 a
Hulk Hogan charged $100.
What is it about JR that enticed you to want to get up early and get all this stuff and spend all that money?
JR is one of the few guys that I would like to meet. He just when I would play with the toys back when I was a kid, and I would play with the toy wrestlers. One of the biggest parts of that is doing the voice of the commentators, commentating all the moves. And we all did JR and King's voices while the guys were wrestling. And he's just, such a big part of it all. His voice really was there was nobody, even still, there's nobody that's been as good as him since.
Can I say,
except for maybe King.
Watching like old, shows and clips, they're the soundtrack to the whole thing.
Yeah, they really are.
Bring the thing up a whole nother notch. It makes the presentation.
And King. I mean, the two of them, equally in their own right. And because King was the eccentric, crazy one, and JR was the grounded one. And JR would do more, what is it? You have color commentating, which is what came, and then play-by-play. So play-by-play is really just calling the match, and a little bit of nobody's one or the other.
Telling the story.
Yeah, they're telling the story, whereas the color is filling in the details.
JR got you excited about it. Like, you felt like, something was happening,
You son of a bitch!
Like, any guy could just pick up somebody and throw him on the ground. But, like, when he's, like, hyping you up and he's, like, screaming Stone Cold, it's like, oh, shit. He's just as hyped, and he's matching the energy of the crowd.
Mrs. Foley's baby boy!
Yeah. And honestly, and I don't want to get too far off track because I want to talk about this, but it really is what's missing today because
Hellfire and brimstone!
Right now they got this Kevin Patrick guy, and I don't mean to be mean.
The Irish guy?
He's the Irish guy.
He sucks.
It's awful.
They all suck.
But here's the thing, too. Like with Roman Reigns is the ultimate bad guy, right, of our modern era. But the commentators are just like, this is Roman's world, and we're living in it. Roman's the great. Like, what do you do? Voice what the fans are feeling.
They have no conscience.
Yeah.
They have no heart.
Yeah.
They have no soul.
Exactly.
You son of a bitch.
Exactly.
Do you realize what you just done?
That man's got a family!
That's what they
Why,
would do.
Triple H?
Why, Austin? Why? That's what they would do. They would, like, voice what the fans felt. If JR was on commentary and Roman Reigns cheated to win WrestleMania with Solo Sikoa, they could have made that moment. You remember, we were just like, oh.
Wow.
And then the commentators are just like, wow. Like, what are you doing?
1,000
They should be saying,
days.
the fans were robbed. WrestleMania, the main event. So, like, they should be vocalizing.
JR was an extension of the fans' thoughts.
He was. And at the same point, too, they guided the fans for how to feel. Like, by hearing JR pissed, you're pissed. So it's like helping carry the story.
Well, he was a fan at heart.
He was.
He was a fan at heart.
And, it's just now that's what's really lacking today.
And he knew the talent, and he knew how to sell them.
Well, he hired the talent.
Right.
So it came a little bit personal to him. He was the talent relations, so he went out and he begged Vince to get McFoley signed. Bret Hart kind of gave him the idea to sign Stone Cold Steve Austin. This is when they lost Randy Savage and Hulk Hogan and Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, and they needed fresh faces. So they got Stone Cold, they got Goldust, they got Vader, they got Mick Foley, they got all these guys who were kind of like either let go or fired by WCW, and lo and behold, these guys became like the top stars in the business in the late 1990s.
They let them find their groove.
As well as signing like The Rock and luring Brock Lesnar and Kurt Angle and all these top prospects who were like athletes before they put on a pair of trunks in the WWF. JR was a big part of all that, bringing these guys in.
Absolutely.
I feel like Stone Cold also is like the moment. He's when he comes out on that mic, does that interview after the King of the Ring.
King of the Ring.
In the Ring was one of the big ones.
And I lost that T-shirt. Can't find it. Pissed. That's the moment everything changes because that's the definitive kickoff to the Attitude Era, which then allows The Rock to become The Rock, right? Because before
There's so many moments like that. It's hard to say any one moment, but that's definitely one of like the top 3 for sure. It pushed us into that next era. And Jared was such a big part of all that, again,
Right,
to Joe's point. Signing all those guys, having a vested interest. And that's really what's lacking today. I just have to say that. When I hear these
it's
guys...
also passion. The passion is
passion,
missing.
yeah.
Let me ask you
that helps the fans get into it. If there was just somebody saying how I felt, they were robbed, something like that, then that would
Pat
make us
McAfee
feel
did a
better.
good job
I
of
wanted to
that.
ask. That was my question.
he
What did
did
you
a
guys think of
pretty
McAfee?
He did all right. He's he's very goofy and happy go lucky.
Oh, definitely. That's
which-
his whole brand.
Yeah, and
That's his whole brand.
it works most of the time. There's some times where I'm like, I don't know if he can get serious, is what I'm saying.
point.
He would in his
need-
matches he does a
But
good
he's
job.
a
a
color
JR.
commentator.
Right,
He's
he
not
would-
a JR. He's the king.
Right.
Of Michael
needs-
Cole's
Eh,
JR.
Good point.
Yes,
Very good
yes,
point.
so-
Yeah.
He was.
Michael Cole grew into his own.
I enjoy Michael Cole now because he's one of the last
Not that I
fucking
know.
things we have from that era. And I think when he leaves, we're going to miss him because whoever comes next is probably going to be worse. So for all the shit that Michael Cole gets, I'd take him over, again, I don't mean to be mean. I don't think Kevin Patrick will ever watch the show, but it's just so awful.
You don't mean to be mean,
It's
but that's all
so
he could be. is
bad.
just-
Me and Gene over
The
here.
11 things Chris Sweet
Chris
hates.
Sweet.
Yeah, Kevin
Kevin
Patrick.
Patrick.
Anyway, so got in, and it's like going when you get an autograph at these places. Again, very transactional, and I get it. There's a long line, but it's like fucking being at the airport, and they're like, "Have your shoes off, have everything ready, walk through this thing before you."
So
like you don't
I-
have enough time.
Just to kind of show the difference between like the wrestling universe who does those, they do a lot of autograph signings.
Oh yeah.
The time that Rob had when we went to the 80s Wrestling Con was nothing like that.
Right.
Because the Godfather, Papa Shango, was generous with his time, took the time. I mean, nobody
He
was...
probably didn't have a line around the block.
No,
either.
and nobody was as great to Rob as Sergeant Slaughter. Sergeant Slaughter, like, he made him a part of the autograph
he had
signing.
to, too.
We're gonna be deals
Even
now,
when
you know?
he met Tugboat, when he met Typhoon, Typhoon was awesome, kicking it with him. So there's certain venues that you go to where it's transactional and they just have to hurry up because
And they have the Shockmaster Stormtrooper helmet.
That's funny.
they have X amount of hours to get through this line and get through everyone who bought a ticket to kind of get the autograph. So they don't have the extra time to kind of, chit chat with you and schmooze with you.
And
a little
everybody
bit.
wants that. And if you
Everybody
do that
wants
for
that.
everybody, then you're going to be there. You'll never. But everyone's
Yeah,
not
but
gonna
you know
get their
what? If they
autographs.
did that, I think you would see probably 2,000 more people there because people would be like, oh, wow, that's actually worth it to go see him because he spends his time. So
Well,
it's
Mick
a
Foley, to his credit, he stayed like the whole day beyond his time. He
Yeah,
stayed.
yeah.
He probably didn't. He was like, "Oh, this is free
Mick
money."
Foley is heralded as one of the nicest wrestlers to ever meet because he's just so down to earth and humble and genuine, and he's gracious with his time.
Yeah,
He
I
just
mean,
doesn't
even
shake-
then, it was
he
the
just
same
doesn't
place.
shake your hand because he's germaphobe.
Doesn't shake your hand. I honestly felt it was
that
more
always that way?
transactional with Foley.
Really?
I was also more prepared. I was expecting
Okay.
that type of experience. I'm realistic. I understand. But I also realized I got 5 signatures,
Yep.
which is a decent amount of money, and that takes some time to sign. And so I had his ear for a second. And so I get there, and it's not even so much him. It's the people that work there, and they're like, have everything ready. And I got this belt. I got the mic. I got the book. I got the 2 pictures. I'm like, and it got to the point where the guy that worked there even kind of realized, like, oh, we're like rushing this guy, and what the fuck? Yeah. So he was like, go take a seat next to him, and then we'll hand you the stuff for him to sign. Sat next to JR. I didn't think he was gonna shake my hand since I went to put out my hand for Mick Foley. He didn't want to do that, so I'm like, I get it. They don't want to shake hands. JR put it out his hand to shake. I was like, fuck yeah, hell yeah! I got to shake JR's hand. Sat down with him. The first thing I said was, I know I got a lot of stuff to sign here, but, none of this shit's going on eBay. And he was like, well, I don't give a damn what you do if you put it on eBay or not. I was like, I was like, I'm just saying this is, for me and my friends, it's not, just to get money or whatever. And I forget exactly the order that I gave him all the stuff. First, there was the 2 pictures.
Right.
And he's like, what do you want me to write? And I was like, Foley asked me the same thing, and I just never prepared for it because I'm like, you're the expert. You're signing these things. Just write what, you know what I mean? But I guess maybe some people want, like, to my friend Rob. You know what I mean? So maybe different. I don't know. I was just like, I'll trust your judgment on that. He's like, tell me what you want. I'll sign it. So he's a little crabby. With the first 2 pictures, and then
Goddamn, kid, you got so
Goddamn
much
kid,
shit
you
for me
got-
to sign.
Well, at the same
Starting to
point,
get
this
carpal
is all
tunnel.
money in your pocket.
You're like
so
a fan or something.
that's-
What's going
yeah,
on
exactly.
That's what you came here for. Hello,
Yeah,
to make money.
fucking,
And
I
he's
I
making
drove an
money for
hour.
you.
I drove an hour. I fucking waited an hour or more, and then I fucking paid a couple $100. So, but then I handed him the belt, and I said, now I know obviously you never, because me and Rob were talking, and he was saying, like, I don't know if you should have him sign it. He didn't hold the belt. And
Didn't hold the belt, but he called
Comment-
every single match that was for that belt.
And that's exactly what I said to him. I said, now I know you never held this, obviously. You never fought for the belt, but you did commentate damn near every match.
It's an Attitude Era belt. It symbolizes that era in pro wrestling, and I think getting other wrestlers who held that title to do it would be beneficial. You could probably get Kane and Chris Jericho and
I could definitely get Kurt Angle. I know I can get
Angle's
Kurt
out
Angle.
there,
Never
yeah.
get Stone Cold.
Pandora.
he was.
I just saw the autograph
was?
session.
Kane was
I
just
sent
at
you
the
guys
weekend.
every.
But it was the same weekend. I think. I feel like it was that Saturday.
No, Kane's going to be back there in July.
Yeah, same day.
Oh, okay.
Kane was in New Jersey.
I gotta say, I was looking at the pictures of him from Pandora's Toy Chest, and he does. I can't say he looks all that happy. They have him wearing the mask again and shit, and he was looking a little like.
There's a couple of guys that'll be difficult to get Triple H to sign it. The Rock, Stone Cold. Those will be the hard
Undertaker.
gets.
Never get
Undertaker.
Vince.
Yeah.
But Kurt Angle,
Undertaker would be sick.
Kurt Angle, you can actually send it in the mail, which I'm a little afraid to send this in the mail, but you could send it to him in the mail and he'll sign it
Hulk
for
Hogan.
pretty cheap.
Hulk Hogan never held that title.
no.
So he signed the belt. Then I passed him the microphone and I told him, this is my own personal mic. I'd love for you to sign it. That way, when I speak into it, I'm speaking into a microphone that legendary Jim Ross himself spoke into, and he was like, "Oh, kind of like, oh, big, like, again, a little sassy,
He
but
doesn't take himself
and,
that serious.
he actually held the mic. He's like, oh, here's a good mic. Goddamn. So he complimented the mic. I said, yeah, it's I use it for my podcast with my friends. And he said, oh, you got a podcast? He said, everybody got a goddamn podcast. And I was like, I know. It's not as good as yours, but
grumpy old man.
Yeah, but but I could see, he was still kind of happy at that point. And then signed the book. Oh, also when he signed the mic too, I said, of course that means by you signing this, you endorse everything that I say, which got a little chuckle out of him, little banter. And then I handed him the book. Told him I love the book, and just while I was signing that, I was like, I just want to thank you for entertaining me my entire life, even to this day. I love your podcast. I haven't missed a single episode, and I just, thank you. That's the only thing I could really think to say to him. And he's like, oh, thank you. That means a lot to hear. And so, by the end, I think, he went from being crabby to being won over, and he appreciated that, and then shook my hand goodbye as well. And that was that. And they took photos throughout the whole thing with me and him. So we got a couple cool pics and. Nice guy. Again, transactional. I get it. He's meeting hundreds of people.
Right. How many would you say, give or take, were in front of you, behind you, overall?
I thought it was going to be worse. I thought for JR that we were going to have lines around the block. And we kind of, we did. It went around. I got there 30 minutes before the doors were supposed to open, which the doors still didn't open for like an hour. And... Oh. The line seemed pretty long, but it really wasn't, again, I only waited once the line started moving.
That's why I couldn't risk going.
I bet nobody had that belt, though, in that line.
There was one other guy with this exact belt.
WWF belt?
Yep. There's one other guy when I was walking out, I saw him. And there was another guy that had a different version of this that was like heavy plate. It looked like almost like how that one is, how it's like a thicker plate by you guys. But it was like this.
Fan-made plate.
I don't know. It almost looked, in some ways, more legit than this did. It looked pretty cool.
That's a replica.
What, this one here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's replicas, and then there's ones that you can get that are made by the belt manufacturer. Like Reg Park is the original creator of the Winged Eagle. Right. Before Reg Park passed away, Reg Park was actually in the Arnold documentary that was on Netflix. He was Arnold's idol. So Reg Park is the originator of the Winged Eagle. He also made the original Intercontinental title. He was a belt maker, a bodybuilder back in the day. Before he passed away, you can, place an order for one of these belts.
Didn't he make Hogan's belts?
Well, that's Hogan's belt.
No, I'm sorry. I mean, who's the guy? There's a guy that makes, like, their belts, like the big, thick belts that they got. Like, Cody's got a belt that he always gives to a fan.
Oh, no. Those are just, like, weightlifting belts.
There's a guy who makes them for them. He's still alive.
I can't believe that was Reg Park. That's so funny.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think back in the day it was like $1,500, and it was like an authentic Winged Eagle on real leather.
In the ring.
Real plates. Right. It wasn't like, this style with like plastic.
Pressed. Yeah. Plated.
It was
leather.
Legit. It was like the ones that they would get made for the athletes on the show.
Yeah. So. But there were a couple of people that were looking at it, and they were like, oh, because they still had WWF.
You can't get that again.
You can't get this belt. There was one guy on the line, and I even said, oh, hey, nice belt. And I pointed to mine, too, and he didn't even seem to give a shit. I was like, you don't deserve that fucking belt, you piece of shit.
Fucking
piece of shit. No good motherfucker.
Hulk Hogan, I fuck you.
I bet he'd be asking for a picture if I was there, though.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to
they were talking about you on the line.
Put you in the camel cuts, break your fucking back, and make you humble. Rest in peace, Iron Sheik. We miss you already.
Iron Sheik, yeah, man.
Cock, poor piece of shit, Hollywood brown jabroni.
I whip out my 10-inch cock, and I fuck you in the ass, and I humble you.
I put you in the camel clutch.
Hulk Hogan, you're no good piece of shit.
Hogan, fucking
turkey, I don't care about this turkey.
Oh, the turkey videos.
Oh, the turkey.
Did you see the video when they
kills one?
Did you see the video when
he spits on the turkey? Mean Gene loses his shit.
Yeah, he starts laughing.
Spits on a turkey.
Did you see where they were talking about when he failed the drug test?
Oh yeah.
And they were like, hey,
Sheik,
it's Vince talking to him. Hey, pal, your drug test was positive. And
thank you.
Like, yes.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
Good. I told you I not do the fucking. And they're like, no, positive means it's a bad thing.
The best. I mean, the Iron Sheik stories are legendary.
I didn't realize how much I really enjoyed his Twitter. Because, like, you would just see tweets.
That's not him. It was his handler doing that.
Was it?
No.
Yeah,
doing all that?
No.
They all have handlers doing that shit.
Yeah, handlers, but I'm sure he was still fucking... No, not at all. Did you ever see the
Hulk
video though of
Hogan.
him on Howard Stern where they actually admit that him and Hogan's on it?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's Howard
They
Stern.
break
actually.
kayfabe in that one.
Yeah. Like they first say how much they hate each other, and then after he's like, I love you, and he's like, I love you too.
Oh, I love you, jabroni, Hollywood blonde piece of shit, Hulk Hogan.
Jabroni. I like
All
that
good
story
fun.
too. The Rock was telling that story on his social media.
Yeah.
Jabroni comes from the Sheik.
Sheiky
Took
baby.
it from him.
Yeah.
Made it the icon thing. that
Everybody
is.
takes everything.
He wanted to
Tower
make
of
sure-
Power, Too Sweet to Be Sad. That was all fucking.
like a monkey. Space is
Well,
the place.
that was-
Did you see they canceled Young Rock?
Did they?
Did they?
Yeah, they just canceled like
It
today.
sucks. It's good. It was.
I
a
gotta
good-
watch it. I
It was
haven't
really
seen
good.
a
There's
single
3
episode yet.
seasons. That sucks.
Yep.
Sucks.
I just saw it today.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty popular.
It was doing well. I want to watch the rest of it. I saw the first season.
So, show that actually we just watched recently that has come back is The Dark Side of the Ring.
Right?
Oh yeah,
Talk
That
about
was-
that a little bit.
has been pretty good.
Chris.
Is that your first time watching Dark Side, Vin?
You've
I've
seen a
watched
couple.
other episodes of Dark Side, but this was my first with Sonny and learning about Chris
Candido.
Candido. Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't know that story.
Fuck Shawn Michaels.
It was right before my conscious awareness of like the WWF. I would say like the Sonny era. It's
Yeah.
pre-Diva. She's like the original Diva. So all that was very new to me, and it was it's one of those.
I had an action
It's
figure of her,
tragic.
too.
I can't believe that
But it's a story anybody can enjoy.
very
not
much.
a,
Very much.
appreciate.
You don't have to. Yeah, you don't have. It's the tale of like chasing your dream because that's what he did, and he really chased it with with tunnel vision, and it's something to be admired. He went after his passion, and that's what translates the best, even if you don't care about wrestling per se, and the relationship, and obviously Sonny being drop dead gorgeous. She's
Back in the day, she was like top tier.
just, how do you
My-
outshine that?
My crush.
know
Yeah.
you want me.
I think I saw she was the most downloaded photo on the
AOL.
internet.
Yeah.
You've got mail.
You've
She
got-
was. I remember having
Welcome.
like the
What did
Guinness.
you have to go through to get that photo? Remember
Oh,
that
my God.
shit?
56K.
People want to complain about technology today, but if you
Malone.
remember what it took back in 19 what?
Well, no,
was this,
it was the
96,
Guinness Book of
95?
World
Laser
Records.
jet
It was
printer,
a
man.
physical book that you would have. Everybody had one of these. You remember the Guinness Book of World
I
Records?
have a few floating
Yeah.
around somewhere.
Yeah, and like the Ripley's books and that. That's where I remember originally seeing about Sonny.
Oh,
Really?
really? Oh,
Yeah,
no
in
shit.
the Guinness Book of
Oh,
World
I
Records.
definitely put her on
I
my
think it
wall
was-
when I was a teenager, for sure.
I had Tori
just
Wilson
on the
my
wall?
On the wall, all over
But
the
now,
place.
actually, I won't ask.
No, no, go ahead.
I
Can't
was
just say I won't ask and then you
No,
don't
it's
ask.
just-
I don't do that here. Spit it out, motherfucker.
when you look at her now.
I mean,
Was
yeah.
Now
she
she's in
90s
prison,
hot?
bro.
No, I don't mean this age. I mean when you look back at her in her prime, was she 90s hot, or was she? Does she still hold up?
She reflects the era, but she had
It was a different.
that blonde.
What was really hot?
tan
What I'm getting
skin.
at is what was hot in the 90s is totally different from what's
Oh,
hot.
here we
today.
go now. Here we
It
go.
was.
I mean, I go.
I don't. You know what I
Trish
mean?
Stratus is still fucking hot.
Well, Trish Stratus. Yeah, she's
Ugh.
she's
don't know,
evergreen.
we
Sonny
can
had a great
bring up-
smile. She
bring-
was cute. She had a great body. She had a great
She
personality.
talk pretty well too.
She could talk
Well,
well.
skills, right? She was smart as
she
hell. She
had
was going
a-
to go to medical school
Yeah.
and shit. That was like her original.
She never really wrestled though. She was only a valet, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I
She
mean, that
never
was the other
wrestled.
thing too is they knew she couldn't wrestle and they didn't try to make
Well, she
her
didn't want to
into it.
wrestle.
Well, that too.
She didn't need to wrestle. She
Right.
was so good, like being on the mic and drawing heat that there was no need for that.
I know you want me.
She's just good looking. It's not 90s
Come on, man.
hot or anything. She's hot.
Sonny,
She's hot.
hey,
She's
Sonny
hot.
was the
hot,
best.
dude.
you know.
Man.
Cheerleader.
I mean, a very
Dallas Cowboy cheerleader, hot.
Hot,
Any one
man.
of those. I mean,
It's like 90s Pamela Anderson era, Carmen Electra, like
yeah, she holds up.
the one where
I
she's
wasn't
on
saying she didn't. I
the
was
one where
asking.
she's on the
Good
beach
question.
with a thong is the one that I had on my wall.
Yeah, there was a lot of
That's it.
posters sold at like
Oh,
Spencer's or
Jesus.
Sam Goody or whatever.
Good God Almighty,
Sam
they killed
Goody.
him.
But
Man, I miss Sam Goody.
but that so I mean that story I was glad though that they didn't make it too much about Sonny. It was a little bit more about Chris, I think. I mean it was about the both of them, but
Yeah.
I feel like we've heard a lot about Sonny and the downfall of her and
you don't want to keep hearing that shit.
I don't know if you knew about it before the documentary,
No.
everything that happened with her killing somebody.
Yeah,
allegedly.
I saw the end. She DUI'd into like a car and killed
70-something-year-old lady.
manslaughter.
I remember reading that. It was like, fuck. You
She
know?
could never clean herself up, whereas Chris cleaned up. You know, he tried to
Cleaned
clean
up
up.
and then he got
He
fucked.
was able to
Yeah, he got
redeem
fucked.
himself a little bit.
I can't believe it was the cameraman. He like his
Yeah.
foot got stuck or trapped, and then he fell onto it and just
Some blood clots, man. Don't
Broke
fly
his
after
ankle, and
surgery.
then
yeah,
he
you can't
flew.
fly. You know, that
And
was
it's
the
because
thing.
he was
That's
such
the
a hard
passion.
worker that killed him.
Hey, listen,
You didn't
you
need
could live
to-
forever or die doing what you want to do. And I'm
It's
sure
one
he
of those
wouldn't-
things where the early 2000s, you really had to make your shots. So you
Right.
had to make the shows. So I almost feel like the wrestling business kind of forced him to kind of not, because it's different today. Like today, they look after your health. They're more conscious of learning from the past, learning from all these tragedies that we've had in the professional wrestling business. So they're not as eager to throw you back on the road or throw you back in the ring once you have surgery or an injury. So I mean, look at someone like Randy Orton and Big E. They've been out for almost 2 years now. They're in no rush to get them back on the.
They're still on the roster. Like
They're still on the roster. They haven't been there, and it's closing in on 2 years now.
It's really
Well,
been
back
2
then
years
it's
for
like-
Big E?
It's
I think
closing
it's been
in
a year.
It's different too. Like back then, you could look at the business as it's in like startup mode. It's like whatever is hot. You know how it is. If we miss we miss a day, you lose that consistency.
Yeah.
You lose that flow.
That's
you
how
know.
it-
That's
yeah.
their
It's
biggest
crazy,
fear
and-
when they get injured is not even like
Lose their spot.
losing their spot, and it's so hard to get that momentum back and get
Yeah.
the fans behind you.
Yeah.
Though sometimes it actually helps. I mean, look at Cody. He got injured, and he got a second homecoming. He
Right.
had the first
I could
great
see
moment.
Big E and Xavier Woods years down the line becoming a commentary team, and I think they could bring some excitement back to it because they're genuine fans, and I think that they bring a good energy.
I could see that. Yeah,
I could see that
I could
happening down the
definitely see
line.
We wouldn't have had the Stone Cold era if Stone Cold would have gotten surgery after Owen Hart pal drove him on his head.
It's a,
He went into physical therapy, and he went right back on the road after he had multiple
They
vertebrae.
had him not wrestling at
cracked.
first, right?
compressed.
Not for
vertebrae.
long. I mean, he was
Actually,
maybe
no.
out. He was doing commentary and coming out doing interviews, but he was wrestling after about 4 to 5 months.
What I'm thinking about is when Booker T dropped him on the table.
That's another
and
time.
broke,
Yeah.
cracked his
Yeah.
vertebrae or whatever it was.
It's crazy. Man.
He, they kept him on TV, and he was doing a lot of the what,
Yeah.
and a lot of the
What?
comedy
With
stuff.
Kurt Angle and stuff.
Yeah. And
Wait,
the
what?
But
the
this is
invasion
this
time.
is talking about like he was at his apex, at his peak. Right before he gets his huge break, he's becoming like the biggest baby face in the company, and then he gets injured by Owen Hart.
Yeah.
At the SummerSlam show.
and the finish was awful too because he had to roll up
He
Owen.
couldn't feel anything. But if he would have just taken off from there and not appeared on the show after that, and they didn't do continuation with him, he probably would have lost all the steam that he had built up at that point.
Right.
Possible.
Right. You couldn't reserve it for him.
But back to the dark side of the ring. Yeah, the Chris and Tammy, it was it's a compelling story, even if
Sad.
you're not a
It's just
wrestling
very
fan.
sad.
Cautionary
Very
tale.
sad.
It's one of those.
Especially
It's real life.
the sunny part. I mean, it sucks the finality of death and everything for Chris, but the fact that now other people have been hurt, it's definitely fucked up.
Yeah.
But apart from that, the other episode of the Dark Side of the Ring was about Magnum TA,
Yeah.
which was a great story because I never really knew the whole story. I always kind of heard it. But like when you really see it, man, like I would have been a fan of this guy. The guy looked like a fucking star. He looked like Tom
He was a
Selleck or
star.
whatever. He was a star. He looked like fucking Magnum PI. or
That's where he got
whatever.
the name.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Somebody said that he looked like Magnum PI.
he looked like Tom Selleck and he had the mustache.
Dusty Rhodes. Yeah, you looking like Tom Selleck out there, baby. We need to talk you into being Magnum TA. That's right, Daddy.
So wait, give me the breakdown. I missed this episode.
You didn't see it yet. So this guy was just like a rising star. He had the look. He was fucking big. He was jacked. He wasn't with WWF. He was with the NWA and Jim Crockett Promotions or whatever, Jim Crockett. And he was pretty much going to be the next big champion. They like literally the NWA was like
We're going to strap a rocket to your ass, to your honey, and take you right to the top, baby.
You would say the NWA was almost like a wrestling cartel. It was all regionalized, and was it the Northern Wrestling Alliance? It was all these smaller territories. National Wrestling Alliance. So all these territories were kind of all like lords in the right, and it was a group, the NWA, and
It's like
you
House
had
of
these,
Dragons. They're all different,
Yeah, you had all these different houses, but they were all kind of unified under the NWA.
Yep.
And Vince McMahon was like, I'm not fucking doing that. I'm making my own national thing. And so the NWA slowly started dying. But this guy could have, like, the way that they tell the story too, Magnum TA could have, like, saved, if all the shit that happened to him. So I'm sorry, I'm trying to think of how to tell the story. It was a long story. Long story short,
He died, right?
he didn't die. No,
Okay.
he was. They literally told him, "We're gonna make you champion," and then like that night, he had like a high speed Camaro or whatever, and he got into a fucking car crash, a Porsche. Got into a
Porsche
car crash like
911.
5 minutes from home. He hydroplaned,
Beautiful.
and his fucking vertebrae like fucking exploded, and he
He's
was
a
told.
paraplegic these days. He was actually.
They
at
said he was
80s
going to be a
wrestling con that we went to.
quadriplegic. He was going to be totally
Wow.
fucking paralyzed.
I know what that is.
He was at the show. Him and Nikita Koloff, who they also talk about.
Who was
Really?
Nikita Koloff was a big
I'll
part of the
watch
show because when he got injured, they were pretty much like, all right, we got to go with Nikita Koloff, and they talk about how he was able to help make a star out of Nikita by giving him his endorsement when he was injured. But
See, this kind of stuff is, I get it, it's sad, but it's so, like, important because it's the reality of life. And, like, when you got a when you, all these cautionary tales, like, even for kids, it doesn't matter whether wrestling or sports, whatever you get into, and if you find success, it's like,
could be gone.
you
just
have
like
to,
that.
you have to protect yourself. You have to understand that you're not invincible. And, like, nothing
He not
like,
go on Instagram with a loaded gun.
I mean, that's a really good one right there. Don't fucking do that. Why put all that on the line?
$90 million. What are you doing?
I don't want to be on Instagram Live ever. I already
I wouldn't even have
you know
social
why I'm on
media.
Instagram Live right now? To try to make $90 million fucking dollars. You know what I'm saying? Come on now. If I got that money, I'm out of here. I don't so that's why when I watch these, that's why I feel like what I'm getting out of it, because we all think of, the success that came out of it. We think of the great stories. The Rock is a really clear, he's the most visible example of success. He's the most successful
people don't end
wrestler.
up
He's
like The
wrestling's version of Arnold.
And most people do not end up like The Rock, but you know what I mean?
Yeah,
you think you can.
think
You set out with that goal. I'm gonna end up there, and it's sad, but you just have to be fucking careful.
I will say though, it was a little bit nicer of a story because even though after that accident he could never wrestle again, he could never be the champion. They talk about how the guys visited. Ric Flair came in and put the belt on himself in the hospital. They had to sneak him in because it was back when kayfabe was the thing. So they actually had like a cop they knew that snuck Ric Flair to a back door so that he can go in and visit him in the hospital. And he put the belt on him and he said, that you can have this one and then you can take the other one when you come back. Which he never was able to come back as a wrestler, but he did end up. He was able to walk again, and they showed him walking out, and that actually made me tear up. They showed him walking out, and the crowd, like the fans, were all crazy. He was able to walk out.
He was
on
like
his
a
own.
huge like heartthrob for like women.
What years were
women?
Like 1985, 1986.
I
We're
see.
talking very early 80s, NWA era. The NWA was pretty loaded with some of the talent they had. They had Ric Flair, they had Dusty Rhodes, they had Harley Race, they had the
Jimmy
Road
Garvin.
Warriors, they had Jimmy Garvin. They had a stacked roster. When you look back at it today, like a lot of those guys who were in the NWA were just huge names.
But at the same point, they needed the guy.
He was supposed to be their Hulk Hogan.
Exactly.
If that makes sense.
That was the idea. Was he was and he very much could have helped propel them. And that was one of the big things he was talking about was when it all happened. Not only does it suck for his own dreams, but he knew the impact that it had on the wrestling business and that they had all these plans for him, all of his friends and coworkers, and built everything around him.
Right.
And then he got hurt.
Right.
But he was still able to be involved. He helped give the rub to Nikita Koloff, who was originally a bad guy that was like an evil Russian, but they had like a picture of Nikita Koloff like crying, and he said, "I cry for Magnum PA and TA," and he ended up giving him the rub, and then the fans loved him, and he still had a part in the wrestling business. I think he did like a Mean Gene type of thing, like he would be backstage like interviewing people.
Interviewer. Yeah.
Might have done some commentary or whatever.
Yeah.
So it was a sad story, but you know, and also there's a whole part of it too about his wife and how you know, how he cheated on her.
You can't have a wife when you're like fucking
All
women
the
are throwing
road.
themselves
Well,
on you.
but
like,
the fucked up part
When
was
are you
that
home?
she took care of
she
him.
took
when
care of
he
him.
was,
He cheated on her
and
after
he
he
cheated
got
on
hurt.
her after his accident. So
Oh.
she's like, that was it. She divorced
He
him.
cheated
or
on her
whatever.
with a woman he's still married to today. So it is what it is. Like,
Well, I don't know if that was it. I think he just met her, and he said he met her
Oh.
while they were going through divorce. And he's
Oh.
got a wife now. He's happily married. You know, he's happy. So it was at least like a nicer ending.
man,
than
you're
a lot of these
26 years
things.
old. You got the world ahead of you. Like, it's not.
Yeah.
Well, she was saying his wife or ex-wife was saying like she really like realized it when they like went out shopping, and this fucking lady literally fainted and like fell on the floor when she saw him, and she was like, you know, that was just like
Oh.
a sign of the
Who he was
draw of this guy.
outside of their relationship.
Yeah, so
It's like Shawn Michaels, you know.
It was like Ravishing Rick.
Shawn Michaels
Ravishing
and Sonny?
Ravishing Rick.
Oh yeah, we didn't even go there. We didn't even talk about
What
that.
a fucker, huh?
What a piece of shit.
what's that?
Shawn Michaels and Sonny?
Chris Candido?
Yeah, dude, he was
right in
Shawn
the locker
Michaels
room.
was
As
really
he's
just
in the
like-
ring. He's in the locker room with his wife.
Yeah,
What a
yeah.
piece of
And rubbing his face in the promos.
Piece of shit.
I was like, wow, they're really digging in here, huh?
Piece of shit.
And you know, Shawn
Fucking
Michaels was
piece
high
of
as
shit.
fuck too the whole
Oh,
time
yeah.
in that era. So it was
Oh,
like, he's
Very
like,
possible.
woo, fuck you, dude,
Um,
taking your girl.
So just some of the comments here. We have Little Joe in the house, Vin's cousin. He said that I look like a young Val Kilmer. I don't really remember what Val Kilmer looks like.
Really?
Fucking
Is he the guy
Batman.
from Death? No, he's got
Top
the heat.
Kilmer's
No, he's
Batman.
got,
Top Gun.
he's the
Heat.
limp guy.
Well, in Heat, that's not a good example.
Batman
He's the
Forever.
worst example.
Was
of
he the
top-
Batman that did the thing?
Batman Forever, yeah.
Why did you do that?
No,
Which
that's
one of them
Mike,
was-
Michael Keaton.
that was Michael
has
Keaton.
Has the lips.
What?
No, Val Kilmer was the lips.
Yeah, Val Kilmer's the
The Riddler,
not George
Two-Face.
Clooney.
Yeah.
He could only do it for
Um,
1 year. He hated that role.
He said, "Can somebody ask Rob how many hours he's played of Tears of the Kingdom?"
Rob, give him the answer. I already said-
180
All right, get this
hours.
out of the way. Get this out of the way.
All right.
They're already all the comments
no,
are
no,
like,
fuck-
"What's
fuck
everybody's
wrestling.
cooking?"
All right.
Rob's Weekly.
So-
way.
Tears of the Kingdom. I've been playing a
Told
mind-numbing out amount of the game. It's you know, it's fantastic. What can I say?
It's great that you're still alive.
I barely. Link is healthier than I am. The more healthy Link gets, the less healthy I get.
Insane.
But yeah, the building capabilities is sick. I mean, if you have a Switch and you don't have this game, you're really fucking up.
I have the
It's the
game. I
only
still
reason.
haven't played it yet.
It's the only
Really
reason.
fucking-
Wait a minute, you have it?
I bought it and I just
You're
haven't.
gonna actually play a Legend of Zelda game for the first
Yeah.
time in your life.
Some point I fucking bought it, but I haven't. You know, it's been like 2 weeks. And I
Go
still
right
haven't
next to
started.
Donnie Brasco.
Well, exactly.
I got the Master Sword. I got the Hylian Shield.
7
I got
years
the
later.
fucking- all the outfits.
But I have been
Fuck.
watching the Clone Wars. We're gonna talk a little bit about Star Wars
I've
later.
been watching a little Clone Wars.
But
here
before
and
we
there.
get into that, video games, since we're already talking about.
No, I thought we were gonna do 5 things Rob can't stand.
Well, that's
we'll get there too. All right,
Yeah.
so wait,
we got a
jumping
couple
all
of things
over
on the
place.
docket
Get
here,
the
but
fuck outta here.
video games. Since we're already talking about it,
a
is
lot.
anybody playing Diablo 4?
I am.
You're playing?
Just me, probably.
How
My
many
cousin
hours so far?
John.
I'm trying to like split my time between that and Street Fighter 6. So
How
like-
is that? How's Street Fighter been?
it's probably one of the best Street Fighters of all time.
Really?
Just the options alone that you have in the.
Oh, look, John's here. He said I am.
Do you like the free roam in Street Fighter?
I'm not playing that. I don't touch that. I don't care
Oh,
about
okay.
that.
I wasn't sure how it
Shit
was.
about
You
that.
don't have to do that.
I just play against people. I play competitive ranked matches, and the lobby system is amazing.
How are you ranked right now? How you doing?
Diamond 2.
Why are
I
you
don't know
not
if that
streaming this? What the fuck? I gotta see
You
this.
can only stream it on Twitch. On Xbox, you can't stream directly to YouTube. Yeah.
Without a capture card. Capture card.
all right.
You
So,
need a computer before you get a capture.
what is it about? What is it about it that's making it the best? Physics and how is the flow?
Honestly, the frame rate
Okay.
and just the connection.
Okay.
Like the fact that I'm able to go into a European lobby or an Asia lobby and really have good latency, and my inputs aren't so delayed. It's just it changes everything, because those are the lobbies you want to be in against some of the better players in the world. And I'm up there. The highest rank you can be is master. So there's Diamond 1, Diamond 2, Diamond 3, Diamond 4, Diamond 5, then master.
Jesus. Okay,
So
I see.
I'm right at the.
You're in that league.
I'm like
where
right
you can
above.
keep-
Right, yeah, I'm gonna get there, but
You
it's
need
gonna
more
take-
time. You're not fucking.
Yeah,
Now
doing this
no,
full
I
time.
am
yeah,
the
no.
master.
So you said the lobby system too. Is there? I don't know why I picture something like a fucking 2K lobby system where you can. It's not like that. They didn't do any of
There's
that.
2 different types of lobbies. There's one where you go into this huge arcade, and you can sit in this next to an arcade cabinet, a virtual one, and play someone, and then someone can go up next and play next, and you can do that, and you can there's actual arcade cabinets inside the arcade. You can play Street Fighter 2. You can play Final Fight, some of the Capcom games.
Oh, shit.
And then
you're walking around like
around in your avatar.
I like that. Okay, that's what I meant by the 2K element.
Yeah.
I like
and then
that.
there's
cool.
the actual, like if you create a lobby, you can create up to 16 people. And in previous games like Mortal Kombat or even the old Street Fighters, like you can spectate me fighting Rob, but then you're just sitting there doing nothing. But now you can have it where you're playing a match, I'm playing a match, somebody else is playing a match. Everyone's playing a match against each other, and you can kind of jump to somebody else's cabinet whenever you want. If you want to play him and stop playing, and there's it's
That's
just
fucking neat.
They did an amazing job with the online options on this. You could do team battles, you could do tournaments, you can do whatever you want.
Is
really,
it worth the price
I wish I
point
was
for the
good. I
bougie
wish
version?
if you're not going to be good at Street Fighter, then no,
I
then
can't.
don't buy it. But if you love fighting games, this is the fighting game to buy.
I might.
My cousin would be the best one to play with you. Joe's brother John would probably be the absolute.
So speaking of John,
Your mic's cut out.
Mike's muted.
I was coughing. Speaking of John, he actually has a question here. He said, "Ask Joe if he likes DOA. You ever play DOA?
Dead or alive?
Dead or Alive
Dead
is
or
good for the boobs.
Alive with the
It was very
The
boob
bouncing
based.
tits.
Did you
Yeah,
like? All right, so I know you're a 2D guy because I know it's Street Fighter up until now.
I play all fighting games, but to me, Street Fighter is just one that always harkened back to me because I was just very good at it.
All right.
And for me, Street Fighter is one of the games. It's simple yet complex in its design, and there's new designs and new features in this one that really like take it to the next level. But Street Fighter is a game that if I didn't play it for 5 years and you hand me a joystick or an arcade stick or a controller, I could do all the moves.
This might be a stupid question, but
hold on, give me a second. It's either like circle motions or charge motions.
Okay.
Now, Mortal Kombat, on the other hand, which if you saw the new gameplay trailer, looks fucking amazing. It looks next gen. It looks ridiculous. But Mortal Kombat, I could remember like back forward, punch, and it's get over here. But then there's dial combos that I will have no idea to remember. So if I'm not actively playing Mortal Kombat, I don't know how to do all those long stringing combos because it does require memorization. It requires you to remember all the dial combos to do the longer string combos. So that's what took me away from games like Mortal Kombat and Tekken and DOA and Virtua Fighter.
Soul Calibur.
I see.
Phil mentioned it. Thank
Soul
you,
Calibur
Phil.
is a great game too.
Soul Calibur is
But
my
Street
favorite.
Fighter is the one game where you can just, if you know how to play it and you know how to play your character, you can pick it up at any time and it's the same.
So this might be a
That's
dumb
cool. I like
question,
that.
No.
but for Street Fighter, because I never really played it too much, is that really only fist fighting, or do they have different weapon guys? Like
There's no
everybody's-
weapons. It's
Nothing.
just
No weapons. It's
Pure
punching and kicking.
fists and
energy,
kicks,
the
right?
each
energy
character has
blast.
a different type of like. There's a sumo wrestler. There's a wrestler. There's a guy who spits fire. There's a guy
Zangief.
who's a taekwondo guy. There's a guy who's Muay Thai. There's
Yoga punch.
tiger uppercut.
It's fighting. It's not
Fighting,
like
yeah.
weapon.
No weapons.
Pure fight.
So yeah, and that's one of the things I really
Sound like
like about
boom.
Soul Calibur. Phil mentioned it. Is Soul Calibur, I feel like, has a wide array of different weapon types. Like one guy's the spear. I mean, I didn't play a lot of the other ones, but
I
like
remember
the spear, the
Tekken
sword.
and Soul Calibur bringing that 3D platform style where you could step forward
Yep.
and back into
Strafe,
the screen.
yeah.
And then DOA took that kind of to the next level where it was a very fluid.
Virtua Fighter was the first one to do that.
That's right.
And
that
on
was
the
PS1,
PlayStation,
right?
yeah.
Well,
Oh,
and
remember
also-
that shit.
I don't know
Mortal
who did
Kombat
it first,
4
but I remember
embraced it,
DOA. You'd like
They
kick them off the
copied it,
level, and
yeah.
then
Yeah,
go
yeah.
falling, and then you'd have a new environment that you're
Yeah.
fighting in instead of just one, backdrop.
Yeah. So I mean, Street Fighter has taken up most of my time. I did sink in a lot of time into Diablo. I don't know how many hours, probably 20 or 30. I'm level 31 right now.
And I want to mention
Playing Barbarian. If anybody's
got
playing
it.
Diablo, man, add me on
John
your.
John Vitale said
It's
the
crossplay
game's
across all
amazing.
platforms.
So last night we were playing with Jackie and Renee, co-workers, and Renee was on PlayStation, Jackie was on PC, and I was on Xbox.
Nice.
Nice.
And we were all in a Discord, and we were.
That sounds like the future.
That's what we, this is what we've been missing from a lot of these titles that are cross-platform, and they don't have these fucking options.
Yeah.
And
get
it's
it.
a game changer. So if you are even remotely interested in Diablo, I highly recommend it. Just be prepared though, because you'll want to play it for an hour, and then 4 hours go by, you don't realize you just played it for 4
Well, I'm not
fucking
touching
hours.
it. I'm telling you, I
It's
love
really
Diablo.
good.
Diablo 3,
Really
I
good.
sunk hundreds of hours into.
Yeah.
Played Diablo 3 for
I even
years.
played that one.
What did you,
You
play?
guys-
What character?
Well, it was always Barb, and then when Pally.
Okay.
When Pally's came out. I like tanking. I'm fucking lazy.
There's a druid now who's like
That's the next. That's what I want to do. So I am sinking.
Just buy it, man.
No,
Just
Joe
fucking
bought it.
buy
I got it
All
on the
let's
show. I'm
play
good to
it.
go.
I wanna hear it.
But I'm playing Zelda because Zelda is that good. I will say it's.
You could play 2 games. It's all right.
It's fucking.
No,
I can't
I
edit the
agree.
videos
I
and
agree.
fucking.
I
I
agree.
mean, he
Yeah.
can't because he's
No.
nuts.
I'm
but,
trying. You know what I'm trying
He
to
can't
do.
avert his
I'm-
attention
game
to
at a
one
time.
thing.
I'm
One game at a
juggling.
time. I don't want to talk to anybody. I want to look at anybody. I got to sit in my room, call out of work, and not play anything but my video game.
My
That's
whole
wrong.
life is juggling. I'm trying to dedicate hours to this and to that and make sure everybody's happy. I would love to jump in and just have like a week off where I could really fuck off and definitely because Diablo's 100 hours.
A couple hours at the end of the night, you play for a little bit.
I'll-
You get a level or 2. You go off.
I will make sure I get on here so we can fucking play a game together.
We have a lot of people on it.
I know,
lot of-
yeah.
lot of-
And me and my
well, I
cousin
might
Joe,
get
the
it.
second we
I
get on
wanna-
it, it's over. I know we're
wanna
going to
mention
have
some of
level
the comments
50s.
here.
and
Yeah.
I can't wait.
So Joe said a lot of people like Diablo right now. And John was saying with Diablo, the game is amazing, really. The game's got interesting stories on side quests, and the
John
main
Ed Joe.
campaign is fun.
Joe, give me your Blizzard
I get you for
account.
it. I got you.
Then they're talking about Little Joe was saying that he asked him once, and you only like Street Fighter. You wouldn't play any other game.
What?
I don't know. Apparently,
say
it's
that.
your game of choice, according to Little Joe there.
I don't know what that means.
Oh, and Joe actually did throw a good fighting game into the mix that nobody mentioned was the Dragon Ball Fighter.
Dragon Ball Fighters, it was
Yeah.
great.
Never played it, but I know
and
that
Kakarot
was a really
awesome.
Kakarot was fantastic.
Yeah. Those
While
are
we're
fun.
talking about leaderboards, just really quick, just because I don't know, it's fucking. I'll share it here. But in Elder Scrolls Online, they have a card game that they created. It's like a board game almost. It's called Tales of
Marvel
Tribute.
Snap.
It's what I play instead of Marble Snap. And right now when I last checked, I was number 43 on the leaderboards for North America. I'm
pretty good.
fucking killing it in this game. I'm like,
Jesus.
I'm addicted to it, and it's actually a really solid like card strategy kind of game. And I'm just playing it to get stuff for the game.
Rob
but-
hates Bethesda.
I know he does, but
do.
I'm on
Oh,
the
wait.
I'm on the
Speaking-
leaderboard for this card game, so I just
All
want
right.
to throw that out there. It's pretty
Speaking
cool.
of Bethesda, a little segue.
Yeah.
What do we got tomorrow?
Sunday.
We got the Hail Mary pass, baby.
Sunday,
This is
1
Microsoft-
o'clock.
Oh,
This
out of
is
hundreds,
like,
Phil.
This is Microsoft's
last stand, I would call it. The
Jesus.
last dance. I mean, this is their last chance to kind of reclaim any,
dignity.
well, I mean,
No,
Wait, what
no,
is
I
it
know.
that they're
I'm
doing
being
exactly?
they're going to showcase Starfield gameplay. They're going to talk about all their upcoming first-party titles. So hopefully we get to see a glimpse of the new Fable. Anything else that's on the horizon? They haven't announced like a Gears of War yet for.
There's a lot that they
Series X.
could be.
You don't like
a
Fable?
lot that could be
They-
coming.
Perfect Dark was something that's also been rumored in the new Banjo
fun.
Perfect
Kazooie.
Dark.
Oh,
They're
Banjo.
not-
They own Rare
I know
Studios.
Sea of Thieves 2 is another
Oh, you mean
officially
Xbox in general.
What do you think?
in development title. Sea of Thieves 2 would be. I'd be surprised to see it.
My
but I wouldn't.
cosmetics better
I
fucking
wouldn't
carry
be.
over.
They did say this. Microsoft said they're not going to do full CGI fucking trailers. The games that you're going to see
Gameplay.
are gameplay.
We'll see.
I don't. It's funny because I don't want them to fail. That's not why I'm not in the console wars like that. You know what I'm saying? It's not my view of how it should be. When they're good, they make PlayStation better because competition breeds better products. But right now they're fucking dead in the water, and they're like hanging on to their last raft. And it's surprising because they have so many good properties. They've acquired so many studios, and it's like, why are we sitting here talking about how this is their last fucking chance in a generation to do something impressive? It's
Well, they went through an
disappointing.
entire console cycle with the Xbox One, and it definitely did not click right. They showcased it as like a multi-platform TV entertainment hub. And then they quickly reverted
took
like
it
a
away.
180 when Phil Spencer took over. And so it's about the games now. It's all about the games. It was a little too late for that.
Right.
And then the Series X came out, and it's a great system. It has a great interface. Xbox Live, like
It's
all
powerful.
the stuff. Game Pass is the best fucking deal in gaming by far. It's just they have not come through on the first party releases, and those are the things that you spend the money on to get an Xbox that differentiates it from playing PlayStation.
Yep.
Because you cannot play Halo on PlayStation or Gears of War or Sea of Thieves or
Correct.
Starfield and all these other games. So
Well, and
Elden Ring.
to that point,
Elden Ring.
I do
Elder
have to
Scrolls.
say too. I mean, when you talk about Microsoft, you have to put in the conversation that they are PC. They are PC gaming, and a lot of people are very.
They weren't. That's not what Microsoft used to be a platform because it had Windows, and gaming was just part of PC. It was just It wasn't something Microsoft concentrated on. It was just their operating system allowed you to take advantage of the hardware more than a Mac, let's say. But when they got into Xbox, when they created DirectX and all of their kind of core gaming tech, they then applied it. Somebody sold someone inside of Microsoft, like, we can make our own thing and compete with PlayStation, compete with Sega, you know. And that's when they truly got into gaming. They ended up acquiring Bungie because Bungie's first show was at an Apple show. It was an Apple announcement. They were showing off Halo, and it's like odd real-time strategy kind of look. It was not the first-person shooter we came to know and love. They acquired Bungie. They tuned up the game where it was going to be a first-person shooter, and they started really focusing on games, gamers, and the future of what like interconnected network gaming was going to look like
Built-in
on the
Ethernet.
console. Yeah, they were ahead of the game. They were looking forward. They were definitely more cutting edge
Xbox
than
Live
Sony.
was amazing when it came out with the
And
headset.
the
and
360
it's
was a way
unbelievable.
better system than the PS3.
Hell
They-
yes.
They
Hell
won that
yes.
era.
Easy.
We were all on 360 back in the day.
But I've heard a good point of why it was such a terrible time to take a misstep. The digital content libraries that were being built on PS4, on Xbox One, made those platforms more sticky. They talk about, you know, you're not going to leave behind the $10,000 gaming library that you fucking invested in the previous gen. So PS4 came out, started off all about the games. That was like, they knew they fucked up with PS3. And they were like, we just need an easy to develop for console where we could just
But
keep coming out with games.
PS4 had a little bit of a slow start. I had a PS4 before anybody, and for like the first several months of it, there was like
We only know that
Assassin's Creed.
now because
No, even at the time.
No, I'm saying back when we were kids, we weren't early adopters because you weren't buying the console.
I did.
You were getting it for Christmas.
I got
bought all the
PS4 day
consoles.
one. That I was
PS4,
able to
actually,
get.
no,
so
no.
did I.
Oh,
I'm
so
saying my
pre-ordered
experience
that.
When
bef-
you're kids?
Yes, I'm
Okay,
just saying you
okay.
don't know about how there's a lull. There's always
Right,
a lull.
you don't know it until it's already
Consoles
happened.
don't launch. New technology does not launch with the latest.
There's always
going to
be an Assassin's
Nintendo
Creed.
did.
Right,
There's always an
Nintendo
Assassin's
64
Creed ready
did.
to go.
That was
did it?
off
Yeah.
the bat.
It's
Crazy.
like
The Xbox One did with Halo. So, I mean, it had the launch title.
Xbox One or you just
Xbox
original Xbox.
Original
Yeah,
Xbox.
the original Xbox.
But PS2 was already out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was a need to. They weren't the first next gen console at the time. They came in late to the game.
Yep.
They knew they needed a. But
Came out
PS2.
2 days
What
after
did I
the
get for
GameCube
PS2?
did.
I think I got Madden 2001.
PS2 is the best.
And then
Tekken Tag Tournament.
it took
I
a
got.
minute. Like I had PS2 from like Christmas
I had
on.
everything on that. I love
Metal Gear Solid 2.
Such
Did not launch with the fucking
Not
console.
a year
though.
later.
I'm
I
just
know.
saying that.
PlayStation launch. You know what I got? The
Yeah.
Matrix.
great game.
Wait.
Great game.
The DVD because there was
Oh,
the
right,
first.
me
My
too.
first DVD
Oh,
player was
yes.
PlayStation 2.
It was there was a kit.
Yep.
Do you remember
That's
with
how
the
I sold my
stand
parents
and the
on it.
movie?
That
was
was
the
way
same
to
one
sell
I
it.
got,
Was
bro.
also a
I
DVD.
bought-
Same
one.
I was like, well, you don't have to get me a DVD player because it's the same money to get the PlayStation.
And then PS3 was
It sparked our DVD collection needs. I still have all my fucking DVDs.
Same.
And Donnie Brasco is
Missing
still
one
in your
of
house.
This is going to be going on year 2. Donnie
Dusty
Brasco.
Brasco. over
Year
there,
2,
yeah.
fucking 6 years. This
Well,
prick
I
has
just
had
mean
my
on the
fucking
show,
DVD.
it was-
Yeah, it was fun.
it's
It
in
was
the
right when you
zeitgeist
first
of the
started
show.
working there.
Shit.
I do want to mention some comments again. John said, "Perfect Dark, take my," and it looks like he said kidney, and then he said or money.
Yeah.
He probably means
and then he said, "My pro Xbox friend is feeling extremely disenfranchised with Xbox, and will get rid of it if they keep failing." Is it really at that point for?
For me, no. I mean, for me, like if I'm buying a multi-platform game that's available on Xbox,
That's what I'm saying. There's
still
so many
playing them mostly on Xbox for the sheer just. I like the controller better. I like the online layout better. I like.
You know, you
I have
can get
more
another controller for you. Like you don't
That's
have to
not-
stick with the.
So the
original.
interface is just not as good. So the interface on PlayStation, while they've made improvements throughout the years, it's still you're still in the PlayStation cycle, and you still can't go into your party chat and send a party invite to your friends that are playing the same game. Like you just have to go inside the game. There's just little intuitive things that PlayStation still has not nailed with their online infrastructure.
I agree.
So it's just not.
Can't
it's not as
argue.
good.
The UI, like
The
there's
UI is
something
not
to
as
be
good.
said about user interface. Microsoft, because Microsoft competes with Apple, I think they're always very hyper aware of user interface, and where Sony is kind of always very internal. They always like,
It's not as good.
you've never seen a Sony thing where you're like, oh, this works better than that. I will say the thing I like with Sony, it does have a premium feel and look. They always do try to keep
That
things.
console's hideous looking.
No. I'm talking about UI
controller.
wise. Like, it's clean.
Yeah.
Stop
It's a
betraying
very
about the
clean
controller.
UI.
Controller is the best controller that's ever been.
Love that I love DualSense.
Controller is the
Ev-
best controller that
feedback-
only lasts for 1 hour before dying. It's,
It will die fast.
it
I'll
is a
give it
better
that, but-
controller in every way, but
No,
it still sucks more because it
But-
just dies.
Zelda is a good example of why fidelity and graphics are not the reason people play games.
I
Not the
100%.
fir-
And that's
it's not
when
the
they
first.
killed Halo. They killed Halo by
Yeah,
saying
yeah.
we want to make sure
No
that
split
it's
screen.
60 frames per second.
No. it's
Whereas if it was, dude, I would take split screen at 30 frames
Pass.
over fucking.
Halo,
What do you want split screen for?
Bungie
Split
and
screening
Halo,
with your friends was one of the best
Who?
things
Who's
ever.
doing that still?
Nobody anymore because they
Well,
killed it.
yeah,
It used
but-
to be Vin had a reason to come
Me
over
too.
because we could fucking play
antiquated.
Halo.
But it's
Now I don't
understand
have to.
I get it. I did
Split
it
screen
too.
with
I
your
just
friends
don't have
is one of
time
the
to come to
best
your
things.
house, dude.
Yeah,
I
we don't even have time to play Diablo with me.
I
He's
can't
gonna come
even-
to your house
yeah.
and play split screen with you.
I'm just
Yeah,
saying, but
I know.
now you never will because why would you? Because you got to go
The
home
thing
to
that
play
killed
with me.
Halo was the divorce
Split
from
screen is the
Bungie.
USB to
How
USB
can
C.
you
Is
keep-
what it is. That's what,
What?
it is. Split screen is USB to USB C. That's what it is. It's just an old technology that's dated.
Oh,
Disagree. Being able to sit down and play a game with your friends sitting next to each other
I'd rather be
is
on a
one of
headset.
the best parts of
I
gaming growing
personally
up.
hate split screen.
I'd rather be
because
on
I
a
don't wanna look
headset
at a
and I'd
fucking
rather play
screen
a
while playing
120
the
frame
so
game on my
always
LG OLED.
I
Sorry.
don't like that shit.
They,
I'd
I
always
should be
say-
able to
You're
do
going- I don't-
both.
I don't wanna go
shouldn't have to,
backwards.
at this
I don't wanna
point,
go
we
I'd
shouldn't
always
have to
say-
sacrifice
You
frame
I'd,
rate.
I'd always
can.
be like,
split
you're screen
screen.
watching
You could still
anyway,
play
motherfucker.
split screen Halo.
If
What are
we're
you
on the
talking
same
about?
team,
No, I know. We got,
What?
You
listen,
could still play split screen Halo online. What are you talking about?
Can you?
Yeah.
on the new one.
On
but
the
they
new,
got rid
on
of
the
this
newest, on the
online.
newest one, you can.
They
split
lost it
screen.
on a
Yes,
couple of
you
them.
can have a guest play split screen and go online and play against people. Yes.
See, that's cool. I'm glad they brought that back.
They didn't bring it back. It was there from day one. What are you talking
Halo killed.
They got
well,
rid of it in
4 and
Halo. You
5,
could
it
not
was
split
not.
screen
4
in
and
Halo
5.
about?
4 or
Infinite had it.
5.
Halo
4 and 5
Infinite
was
has
not.
it.
No,
Day
they
one.
took it out.
Halo died
The
when they
last
lost
one
Bungie.
to have.
Joe, back me up, Joe. Halo died when Bungie left Microsoft.
I agree
was
with that.
it.
No, I
that was
agree with
just
that.
Sure, I agree with that too because they
There's-
went on to create fucking Destiny, which was the fucking bastard abomination
God.
child
No,
of them.
it's a different
really,
game than
I mean,
Halo.
yeah.
Anyway,
They should have stayed with Halo.
343 fucked up Halo from its inception when they did the Master Chief Collection. I don't know if you remember, the Master Chief Collection was probably the worst launched game in the history of worst launched game. It didn't work.
It's like Cyberpunk.
You could not know, but at least you could play Cyberpunk. The Master
Halo
Chief
4?
Collection did.
Oh,
It
Master
was busted.
Chief.
It was
Yeah,
broken.
oh,
You could not
yeah.
play it.
Broken.
Yeah, it was.
I
bad.
wanted so badly to play a
Halo
fucking Halo 2
And then even when
anniversary,
you could
Halo
play
1
it-
online.
Yes.
Holy shit. Like, you could not play. You could not do
And
anything.
even when you could play it, you couldn't choose like, oh, I want to play Halo 2.
Yeah.
Fuck the Microsoft, Jabro.
Fuck the Microsoft! I will buy my 10-inch dick. I humble you.
All right, so
2 times you said teenage cock.
we
Anyway.
brought it up.
That's him
So
that
we
says
did
it.
bring it up. Microsoft's gonna have some announcements. Do we have any wishes for tomorrow? If we beyond Starfield, I know Starfield's the big thing.
Yeah, I want to see. I mean, I don't think we're going to see anything like Gears or Fable or Perfect Dark, but
Fable.
if they did, they could show Fable. I mean, they showed it in E3 2 years ago, just a basic
ahead.
like teaser
Fake
reel of
teaser.
it.
Yeah.
But there are titles that they have in their library that if they were to come out with them and really. The problem is, like, we're in fucking year 3 of these next-gen consoles, and we still don't have a next-gen looking game. I would say that Mortal Kombat, like, blew me away because it looks like, holy shit, look at the backdrops on this fucking game.
Oh, my God.
Like, it looked incredible. So that's what I want. I want a game, and if Starfield is the one to look like it, then I'm all for it. So I want a game to justify my investment of an LG C10 fucking OLED television and a $500 next-gen console. That's what I want.
I do want a good new space game. You know, I didn't do No Man's Sky. Fuck that game.
This will be better than that.
Didn't do Destiny. You know the story there.
In depth.
I want a good game where you can fucking fly around in space and have some space battles. I hope it lives up. I really do, and I think it will.
It is a very ambitious game.
Yes.
It's going to be
Yeah.
very hard to live up to all the things that they're promising. So that's my only concern is the amount of hype. And we talked about how you hate hype, right? I mean, that was one of the top 10 things you hate.
Absolutely.
This one has been hyped for a very long time. So it's
That's
going to
the
be
problem.
hard to oversell this. And
If No Man's Sky is the bar, that's also a problem. Because I will say with No Man's Sky, despite it being an empty game, in terms of mechanics and what you would expect from flying in space or to and from planets, it provides that experience. It provides a very real feeling. I'm going from planet to planet and system to system and using jump warp speeds and fuel, like it's very good at those things. If they filled it out and there was actually purpose behind it, people would, I think, cling to it more, which is where Bethesda would be.
Will this
best.
game have character? Because you need a game that has like character that buys you into the story and the character development and the character progress. Like, will it have, some sort of charmingness to the actual world and the characters that are in the world? It needs to have that. Otherwise, it's just a matter of like leveling up and it's generic kind of looking. So it has to have, that big moment where you have a character, you have this world. You have this entire
Rob already got pissed at the game. It's not even out. He got pissed at the game.
I know one
already.
of the things on Rob's top 5.
We want to segue into that?
I was gonna say the last thing.
We talk about Spider-Man 2 release date.
Spider-Man. We finally got the release date, the pre-order date, the collector's edition information, and it's imminent. It's not one of these
October 20th.
next year and delays and fucking no. It seems
unless it does get
this game. I'm just saying, based on what I'm seeing now, this game looks ready, and we finally got the one shot we wanted. Venom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
everyone's seen him now.
Yeah,
and
He's
they
like
have
fucking
the limited edition of the box set has a fucking statue of Venom fighting Spider-Man.
$230.
That's a lot of money. I mean,
June.
Rob's gonna get it.
June 23rd. Was it June 23rd? I don't.
Rob, why don't you talk about, while we're on the subject of Spider-Man, like what you saw in the theaters, and then we can segue into things you don't like.
So Vin actually saw it too, separately. The Spider-Verse movie was fantastic. I don't want to give out too many spoilers because it is pretty fresh. But I will say that, and slight spoilers. So if you don't want to hear it, earmuffs. But this is a part 1 movie because it ends on a to be continued.
This is technically part 2 of what will be a trilogy. Did not know going in.
Neither did I was like, wow, this is going long, and they haven't
it was not
solved
up.
anything yet. And I'm like,
where's the dot? Where's the guy? Where's the villain? What the fuck? I would have to say it's a really great use of the multiverse concept, better than Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. And to be fair, they're doing it animated, so it's beautiful. That's the other thing I really appreciate about it. Each universe has its own art style, which lends itself to each part of the movie, and it's very cool and kind of dynamic. And it's probably they hit all the right points with what makes Marvel a Marvel movie, in terms of his relationship with his family and what's really happening. What are the stakes in the movie? It's emotional. There's actually some substance to the whole thing.
And I did
beyond
crack
spectacle.
up with the Lego Spider-Man. That was my
humor. Oh my god, I was thinking
he's
of
like,
you
you're one of our best, and I'm
like, so they do one
and that
segment.
part, I will say, that part
No
was
spoilers.
actually animated by a 14-year-old.
Really? Did stop motion?
I read that. Yeah.
Oh, that's the coolest thing I've ever heard. Love the internet for shit like that.
Yeah,
That's the great part of the internet.
yeah.
I thought that was immediately what came to mind was you,
Because it was the Daily Bugle. I'm like, it's my
got
room.
the play
Fucking
set.
right there.
Rob's got the play set, did the build, got the video. It's just very clever. So it's cool that Sony does such a good job. There's also
I love how the one
get to see
constant is who plays J.
This
Jonah
was a
Jameson
Sony
now.
movie?
It's like
this is a
There's
Sony
no
film.
Disney in it at all?
It's just partnered with
This is
Disney for
just Sony,
property rights and
Okay.
certain certain things do matter.
when
They do
mention
have.
Doctor Strange
All right,
and the Geek
I'm
on
fuck
whatever
fucking
world.
spoilers. Nobody gives a shit.
This
If you
is
didn't
nice
see
to
this
hear
movie-
that Sony did a good job with
Why
Spider-Man.
are we worried
'cause I
about
feel like they
spoilers?
haven't.
We're a fucking podcast.
I'm not worried about it.
I don't know.
This guy's always. I don't
Here's
wanna
a really
spoil-
cool tie-in. Did you catch the fact that? Oh my god, I can't remember his name right now.
Who?
Uh,
Miles?
it's Miles' uncle. So in the Marvel movies,
Uncle. Fuck.
Jorge.
who's the artist? He's a fucking artist. He's a music artist. I'm such a dick. Childish Gambino. Fucking idiot I am.
That's right.
So Childish Gambino in the Marvel movies. Did you remember the most recent Spider-Man movie? The first one of the most recent?
The Homecoming or Far From Home?
Yeah, Homecoming.
All right.
So you remember the guy who has the ice cream? Spider-Man.
Vaguely. I've
All
probably
right.
seen that movie one time.
So he webs this guy to the car. Anyway, it turns out it's Childish Gambino, and he's technically Miles' uncle, who becomes the Prowler. He actually becomes a bad guy.
Donald Glover.
Donald Glover, thank you so much. It's killing me. So Donald Glover appears into the Spider-Verse.
Not Danny Glover. Like
Not
Mel
Danny
Gibson.
Glover.
Not Danny
Not to
Glover.
be mixed up
Not
with Danny
related.
Glover.
We're too old for this shit.
I did meet Danny Glover once.
What? You met Danny
He was
Glover?
at New York Comic Con.
Who am I thinking of?
I was like, "Hi, Danny Glover," and he waved back.
Anyway, the point of my story, they did do a little crossover with what was established in the MCU.
I was thinking
Just saying that there is a reference to that. And the other cool reference was the video game reference, the Spider-Man video game. He was referenced in that.
You know what's funny is when what's his friend's name that's in the dorm? He's playing.
Chris is dying.
What happened?
Popped him. Fucking Danny Glover.
I met Danny
Like Paul
Glover.
Giamatti again all over again.
Oh, fucking Paul Giamatti.
Oh,
So
man.
I was
don't know-
half expecting to see Paul Giamatti in the fucking movie. I would have flipped my shit if Paul Giamatti.
I don't know
was in
why when you
Spider-Verse.
said Danny Glover, I thought Don Cheadle.
What?
And we went from Donald Glover to Danny Glover to Don Cheadle into my
Oh,
head. It
fuck.
was just too
Fucking
much.
random. Yeah.
It's too much.
Jesus.
Help.
But yeah, fantastic movie. 10 out of 10. It couldn't have been better. I don't think.
10 out of
Yeah, it
10?
was no, it was
10
like
out of 10?
It was probably like
10 out of 10.
8.5, 9.
I don't know. I liked it.
It was fantastic. I'm just saying.
I thought
to be
visually it
perfect,
was sick. The story's like fantastic.
every single moment in that movie you could freeze frame and hang it on your wall. I heard somebody say that, and I agree. There are so many really gorgeous scenes and like such great artistic styles used in the movie.
And there was a point where they're like, Spider-Man's on the run, and then they all start pointing at each other like the meme. It's like,
Oh yeah, they nailed that
Yeah,
too.
the
They didn't go too far with that. Like, you'd think like they could overuse shit like that in a way. But
and they
were
did
pretty
show
good.
like clips of like even Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man's Uncle Ben laying down dying and stuff like that.
Yes,
So it's-
everybody.
Oh, they showed Uncle Ben dying again?
They did.
Andrew
Yeah,
Garfield.
they gotta have that. You can't
Without
have
the
Spider
line
movie.
though, they didn't drop the line.
Basically, all 4 of the major universes in Spider-Man were referenced
Yeah.
in that movie.
Any Green Goblin? Willem Dafoe?
No,
There was a flash frame of an animated Green Goblin getting punched, but that was the only reference to Green Goblin that was really made. They made a bunch of like multiversal jokes where there was like Mysterio and there's Mysteriette, like there's a
Oh my
female
God.
Mysterio and
Please
there's
stop.
Here's-
a cartoon
here's
one.
a question.
Like just like quick.
This
It
is-
wasn't like a.
Have we ever
Mysterio.
chosen like a top 3 or whatever the fuck of our favorite Spider-Man villains? We talk a lot about Batman, but I don't know if we've ever done
Number
that.
one's Venom. Like there's
Yeah?
like
hard to
Number
beat
one's
Venom.
number one. Venom's my number one villain of all of Marvel, let alone just Spider-Man.
Really? I feel like I've heard you say that a couple
But
of
is
times.
Venom really a
probably-
villain though?
He's an anti-hero because he thinks he's good, but he hates Spider-Man. So he'll do anything to kill Spider-Man and fuck Spider-Man over.
He's Spider-Man's
and
enemy.
that comes
not
from
villain.
not
That's why.
only
The symbiote hates
the
Peter.
symbiote hates him and Eddie Brock hates him,
Yeah.
and their mutual hatred is kind of what made them become.
Do they,
Venom.
do they
usually-
ever make nice? Or is it
They've
always
teamed up.
They've
There's
teamed up,
been
yeah. In fact-
Situations.
In fact, right now in the comics, Venom is fucking God. Like he's the god of symbiotes. Like they defeated Null in the King in Black, and now he's fighting like somebody that's basically trying to fight him for the throne, like another King in Black, and it's really like a very
Now he's the
confusing
protagonist.
multiversal story right now in the comics. But
Funny,
he
he's
doesn't
the
have a
most-
body anymore. His body died, but his consciousness as Eddie Brock
Liquid metal.
can like travel through
Just watch
time
that
and like
again.
basically he can like
Just watching True Lies.
assume the body of any like symbiote that's in any time or any place.
Here's my
And
invitation.
he's kind of learning
So
his
you're
powers.
going with Venom as the best Spider-Man villain.
Yeah.
Joe,
Ven-
what say you, Joe?
I agree with that. I
Yeah?
agree with Venom. Followed by probably Green Goblin and then Doc Ock.
Green Goblin will be like his Joker. I'd say.
Yeah.
For me as a kid, Dr. Octopus was the best because they didn't have Venom yet, but when Venom came along, for sure.
I will crush you, Spider-Man.
Though we still haven't had a great Venom movie,
No.
right? There's no
Those
Venom
movies
movies
are
that you guys
terrible.
are happy with.
Those
So
movies are bad.
Oh,
it's
a sad-
interesting that you can
piece of
choose him,
shit.
but you've never had a movie.
It's
you
funny-
can only do that from the comics.
I don't understand how
wanted to
some of
say
the
that
best
Venom is
characters
the
have the worst movies.
Venom's the most avoided, like, character per se. Like, they always really want to reserve him, and almost to the point where you never get him. You know what I mean? Like the MCU
No, because
is not
when they
touching
finally
Venom
are brave
yet.
enough to give him to you, they fuck it up every time.
Yeah,
That's why. It's like the Hulk. It's
there's
like
three
Thor.
different
It's like
examples.
all these characters.
Yeah, where you have such an amazing amount of source material to be like, here's what Venom looks like, feels like, is. Here's 4 different fucking stories for him, whether you want to go with Eddie Brock or even Kraven the Hunter. I saw a freeze frame of Kraven the Hunter getting the symbiote. You know, there's so much cool opportunity, and every movie sucked.
Yeah.
Spider-Man 3 was the worst thing ever fucking made.
Horrible.
Killed the whole franchise, killed the next movie.
Killed Tobey Maguire.
And almost killed Tobey Maguire, and it almost killed Spider-Man until it was revived by the MCU.
Whose
Sam
fault
Raimi
was
hasn't
that?
done shit either.
Whose
Until
fault was that?
Madness.
The Spider-Man
3?
Venom?
Yeah.
Estrogen was
No,
the
but
fault.
ultimately, was it Tobey Maguire who fucked up that dance? Was it the
No.
The writing,
was
just
it
a
Stan
bad
Lee?
script.
Like,
Bad
No, it was
script.
a
No, Marvel was
depressing-
not involved.
It was
That's
a
why.
fucking hot
Sony did
topic,
it.
depressing fucking movie. After I left that movie, I was like, what is this? Like, everybody in that
trash.
fucking
It was
goddamn
horrible.
movie is crying.
Yeah.
Sandman's crying. Venom's crying. Mary Jane's crying. Peter's crying. Like, enough.
Yeah,
Holy
that was
shit.
bad.
Yeah.
But
It
I'm a
was-
good person. Fucking Sandman.
It's
Just
fucking terrible.
So you say Sony and the script is that fault?
No,
for that?
Sam Raimi fucked that
Sam
movie.
Raimi?
Yes.
Oh, well, yeah.
He did all 3 of those,
I'm
though?
sure.
Yes.
Well, because Spider-Man was such a success and the people involved,
Spider-Man 2 was
Specifically-
incredible.
there's a very
I
specific.
still put Spider-Man 2 a top-tier Marvel movie ever made.
I'm with Spider-Man
You ever-
1.
you ever
That's
hear-
my number 1 villain, by the way. Is
Yeah.
obviously
You
Green
ever hear
Goblin.
the producer Amy? Fucking what's her last name?
Oh.
So she's the main producer on Spider-Man on the first 3, and then she was directly involved in negotiating with Kevin Feige about getting them in the MCU. And that's the sandwich story. If you ever watch Endgame, where Scarlett Johansson talks about throwing a sandwich at Steve Rogers,
Mm.
and it's a direct reference to
Okay.
when that executive threatened to throw her sandwich at Kevin
If
Feige.
only you would know these things.
I know, this is a deep MCU
Heard about
cut
the
Marvel
sandwich
shit.
a couple of times.
My point is that her over
I get it.
involvement
Yeah.
in 3, because when the movies are so successful, it's like, well, because I'm involved, they're so successful.
I
And
loved
now
Spider-Man 1. Like, when it came out,
Yeah.
it really, like,
It changed what
changed superhero movies on the big screen
It made
forever.
you cry.
best
I mean,
thing
when
since
Uncle Ben died,
Bat-
it's a fucking
best thing since the original
Hero
Batman.
can save us. I'm not gonna stand here and wait.
And then it had
Hold on to the wing.
the 9/11 controversy as well, because
Oh
it
yeah,
was
and-
the different
yeah. They had to
ending.
change the movie poster because
Yeah,
in
9/11.
his
Yeah.
reflection in his eyes, you had the twin towers, and they had to change it.
Well, he was
Another thing.
And it had
Yeah.
give you
the
3
first-
minutes.
the
Had
fir-
the macho
the
man.
first teaser that they did. He actually
Bob has to do it.
swings through the Twin Towers. and
Give us
shit
a little
like-
bone saw.
Bone saw's ready. I got there for 3 minutes. 3 minutes of playtime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A cup of coffee in the big time.
Huh.
What did he call him in the game? Spider Geek or Spider?
Oh, that game was great.
No,
too.
in the
That was-
movie. What did he call? Bonesaw called him Spider something.
What are you doing
calling
up
him
there?
He's basically calling him a pussy. I remember that. He
yeah,
was
yeah.
calling him. He was definitely calling him out, dude.
Nice outfit.
man.
Who made it for you? Your husband?
You know what?
Oh, that was so good. Yeah, that was where Tobey Maguire shined, because the truth about Tobey
the
Maguire
quips,
is he's
yeah.
a prick.
A witty little
And he's a
fucking-
much better prick than a nice guy, and they always have him play a nice guy. But that always carried through, and they did that well, and it carried it through in the game as well.
Oh, the game was so
whole
good
game
with
was
the
great.
jabs and the one-liners.
and
That
you
was
could
so good.
that was a game where you
Yeah.
really could see the open world potential, where you were like,
Yes.
oh,
I think one of my
this-
favorite memes on the
this is
internet
coming.
is Tobey Maguire's reaction to seeing paparazzi and like how
Oh, he's
pissed he
pissed.
gets. And
Oh.
they hit you with the da 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 da.
fantastic.
And then he'll look away, and then he looks back. Da 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 da.
Last thing, I did like in the most recent Spider-Man movie, No Way Home, the reference to the fact that Tobey Maguire actually shoots it out of his body.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's always been
yeah.
controversial.
I always liked that way better.
I
don't
think
know,
only
it was cooler that it was
$20.99 really
natural.
did that.
It's a little weird.
Spider-Man.
So there will be, I love the Marvel stuff.
There's
so
gonna be
I-
a Stan Lee.
Stan Lee show's coming out soon. They had a
A
trailer
show or
today.
just a documentary?
Like a documentary show, you know what I mean? Not a reenactment live kind of thing, but just
Like The Last
in
Dance?
his
I was
words.
sitting in my office
Apparently-
in Manhattan, and I thought, gee, wouldn't it be cool if there was a superhero with the abilities of a spider?
I'm hoping for. I imagine it to be similar to The Last Dance. You know, it's Stanley's Last Dance.
Yeah.
That's how I looked at the Arnold thing when I was
Arnold's
watching
Last
that.
Dance. That's right.
It's Arnold's Last Dance.
Yeah.
I couldn't help but
Michael
think of you,
Jackson's
Joe. I'm
Last
watching this shit. I'm like, I gotta hear Joe say all this shit. This is too good. That was great.
And Secret Invasion. So
That's
I
the other
wanna- I
last
wanna-
thing. That's
I
the
wanted
last
to
thing.
drop that news for anybody who hasn't seen it.
Nick Fury.
If you go
baby, he's
to
back.
Secret Invasion, it's the website is theinvasionhasbegun.com.
Ooh.
And if you type in the password RSD3PX5N7S, you're gonna have to probably write this down
Fuck
or
is that?
play it back. You
a
put in
secret
this
code.
password on that website, and it will actually play a 5-minute trailer for the new Secret Invasion show.
It
which is
is
really
awesome.
cool.
It
When's,
looks.
when's that coming out?
That's gonna be. I want to say June. Was it June 21st?
Already?
21st,
This
yes.
month?
Yeah. It was, it's
Coming
it's
soon.
It's
So we
very
got
soon.
Secret Invasion in June, and then we got Ahsoka in August, right? That's the two
Oh.
big Disney Plus. Titles
I
coming out.
fucking can't wait for
Man,
Ahsoka.
that
That's
Ahsoka's
gonna
gonna
be
be
The new trailer
fantastic.
dropped. That
Heir
looked
to
pretty,
the
looked pretty
Empire.
good.
For Ahsoka?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
so-
I didn't see that.
There's an,
So
put it in the
I
group
do want to
chat.
mention too,
Christ.
since you mentioned about Ahsoka, I started watching the Clone Wars, and it's getting better now because the first few episodes were like, ugh.
Told
The
you.
first
It's
season
getting
is pretty
pretty
childish,
childish now.
but after you get
Truly.
past the first season, it really starts getting better, and then like it gets into like stuff that you like, where it's like, you know, the battles and like Grievous being on the battlefield and Dooku doing his machinations in the background, and
Chancellor
stuff like that.
Valorum.
It voted no confidence.
I love when Valorum's in the Plagueis book. I know you've
He
been-
is in the Plagueis book. In fact, I wanted to mention that as well. That I've been listening to the Plagueis book in the car, and it is significantly
Less stressful
helped.
while you're driving, Rob?
Oh, it's been night and day.
Well, that gives
Oh,
us
yeah.
a good segue.
It's made
then.
you calmer, right?
That is a
I
great
just I don't make any noise. In fact, I don't even open the windows anymore.
Nothing like a good audio book.
So the last
The
show
only
we
thing I
did,
will say is that during the Plagueis book, I don't know if you guys notice, there's always some kind of rumbling sound in the background, and I find it kind of it's like
Yes. Oh yeah, they have that.
I
I
feel
find
like
that
that
very
adds
annoying.
like
ambience
it's
to
like
the
an
environment.
ominous
Oh, annoying?
tone.
I find it like almost like it's popping my eardrums while I'm trying to
fuck
listen
you
to the
listening
fucking
to it
story.
on?
Yeah, I don't.
On my car stereo. It's like,
Well, they'll have like
Gotta
the whir
adjust
of like
the volume.
machines. They have
Adjust
like
the
and
whirs.
it's almost like they're using the force too hard. Like, you know?
Maybe your EQ in your car is a little fucking.
Like every time you see Palpatine, there's a fucking choir of fucking monks singing.
Choir boy compared to me. A fucking choir boy.
He go Damask.
He go.
You go.
He go to
Damascus.
mass.
Damask holding.
Where's From the Dungeon? I know he's been listening to that.
The moon.
Oh, so Phil makes
Damascus.
Phil makes a good point. Chris, Anakin from the Clone Wars is the best Anakin. That's absolutely true. The Anakin we know from the movies, unfortunately, just didn't have the time.
That was George Lucas's problem.
Yeah.
I hate you.
He
The
wrote it. It
dialogue.
was like this is how
Yeah,
George
that's how
Lucas
it
felt
was.
when he was like 12 years old about
You'd have
himself.
Marshall Lucas to say, George, this doesn't fucking make sense. Fix it.
He's too whiny. Stop.
The sand feels
You
rough
know,
on my
I
skin.
do want to say my
Clone
favorite
Wars is
version of Darth Vader or Anakin or whatever you want to call him, apart from in the Thrawn books that are really good, was in Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
I loved
Because of
when his
Obi-Wan?
fucking when he was fighting Obi-Wan in the dark.
I
and
like
it was
that
just
show.
a-
I really enjoyed
I
that
loved
show.
Obi-Wan. I
loved
don't
it.
know where this fucking
Hatred.
fuck you if you didn't like that show. I fuck you. If you don't like that show, I fuck you. I humble you.
Suplex
That,
your
and when his
piece of
mask
shit,
got
Hulk
fucking
Hogan.
slashed open and you
awesome.
saw his face and it was Hayden Christensen, but he was fuck. Come on, that was great.
awesome.
That was awesome, yeah. No, I like
You know,
that
one of the
show.
Chase.
changes that I
There's a
don't know
few
if
plot
I'll
holes,
ever
but
get used
whatever.
to. The lightsabers now, like in the show, they use lights. You know what I mean? Whereas before they used digital effect, and I don't know whether it helps or hurts sometimes.
I think it helps because it casts light on them when they're in the dark and you have blue light casting on
It's
on
true.
Obi-Wan and the red light cast and that Vader's like black, so you just see the reflection of it. I think that lighting is really cool and like it lends to like they call it night blind. Like if you're a soldier and you're at a garrison and it's the middle of the night and it's pitch black and you're sitting there looking at a fire, when you look away from that fire, you're not able to see shit. You're like blinded by that light.
Kind of like
in
the
night.
last season of.
Yeah, that one episode that everybody bitched about that didn't have an LED TV. No, I like what they're doing.
Game of
Fucking Helen
Thrones.
Keller episode.
I absolutely can't wait for Ahsoka. I think that's going to be the best Star Wars show that we've seen
Absolutely.
in the new era compared to Mando.
And Ray Stevenson, the guy, he's
Why do you say
playing. What's that?
Joe says, I
What,
think
you
it's.
don't think it's
You don't
gonna
think
be good?
Ahsoka's
I
gonna
think
be
it's going to be
good?
Dave Filoni.
I think
It's gonna have
his
Thrawn.
best.
You said best. I don't know.
It's gonna have Thrawn. I think
That's
it
a
is
bold
gonna be
statement.
the best.
Bold statement.
I gotta say
Simply
better.
the
All right, so it
best.
would. It's hard. All right, it won't beat Mando for obvious reasons. A, Grogu, B, Mando's awesome and badass. But I would say Obi-Wan, Book of Boba.
I
all the
liked
stuff-
Obi-Wan, man. I don't know.
I liked
tough.
Obi-Wan. I think this will be better.
Because of
I'll put my vote
Because of
down
Obi-Wan?
now.
A lot of people bitched about Obi-Wan.
I'll make my defense.
I liked it.
The key word there, they're bitches. That's the key word.
I mean, I like that. I hate
I
complain
could
about
see
plot
the
points.
gripes
That's-
about Book of Boba because that was the one with the little fucking jet ski kids or whatever.
Book
the
of
Power
Boba was
Rangers.
definitely not good.
I really like Book of Boba too. I've liked
was
everything
alright.
that they've been
It was
putting
Had
out.
some good music.
Okay.
Going forward, we're still in good hands.
Tusken
I'm
Raiders,
excited.
you got to see a little bit of them. You have a little bit of fucking.
Speaking of gripes, Joe, kick us off with this.
So last time we were live with you guys, we had 10 things that Chris Sweet hates, not sweet enough, and I thought that was a really great segment. And,
I got another 10 if you ever want them.
Oh, here we go.
Oh,
Next, save,
my
dun,
God.
dun, dun,
Save
next
those.
week.
Bum.
All right, so another 10. But Rob, have you been
10 more?
pondering 5 things
Are
that
you
you just can't
pondering what
stand?
I'm pondering? All right,
Besides
yeah.
your back, your knees,
My neck, my back,
my neck,
my
and
Netflix
my back.
and my snacks.
It can't be self-hate.
All right, so
okay?
this is
It's all self-hate. Myself,
this is
myself,
Rob's
myself, and
Rob's
myself.
got the podium. This is 5 things.
I have the conch.
Yeah,
It's my turn to speak.
Yeah.
All right, so
we're going in order here. Number 5.
yeah, I guess we can go in order.
Number 5. Kick
I
us
don't know.
off.
You know what? You can make this any order you want.
No, you have to put it in order.
I
You
have to put it
motherfuckers
in
put
order?
my feet to the fire and told me it had to be
Feet
in
to the
order.
fire.
Well, you're the one that likes to complain about shit.
So hey, you grind your gears.
I do grind gears sometimes.
Your gears get grinded.
All right.
Number 5.
Number 5, commercials. Unskippable commercials.
That's a good
I
one.
fucking hate
That's a good
commercials.
one. I like
I
that.
can't stand.
You took that
Like
from
when
me.
I want to watch something and I see there's a commercial that's unskip, I fucking
I'm
go to
with you,
something
man.
else.
I'm with you there.
I can't. You immediately lost me, and it makes me not want to buy the thing that's being
Yeah.
advertised.
Pushes you
It
away.
has the opposite effect. It's like I don't fucking want
I gotta
this.
mention this too while you're talking about commercials. Now, there's this new thing that they're doing with the apps when you're watching on like Apple TV, where they have interactive commercials, and you have to pick up your fucking remote and do a fucking multiple choice quiz. Like you're listening, and it's unskippable. You can't just fucking. It'll sit
Oh no,
there.
I would shut it off.
it's
That's it.
it's a new level. It's
Nope.
fucking crazy.
No,
That's
nope.
totally understandable. I like that.
I'm gonna have to go out of order of this list.
No,
then.
no,
Oh, hey, it's
no.
has to be.
The list is not in order. Of,
But
the list is not in the right order of hate.
Well, to
so
put
I
it in
have
the
to
right
go out of
order.
No,
do
you
it
have
right now.
to.
You have them in front of
You
you.
have to do it.
No.
Number 4.
We can keep talking about commercials.
Number 4,
Number 4.
waking up early.
Yeah.
I fucking hate
I-
when I can't just sleep until I'm done.
Yeah, I like that.
Like it's the
I-
worst.
I'm not a morning
Like,
person.
especially like super early because I'm just a grouchy piece.
But
of
you
shit.
always wake up early, don't you?
Not always.
I
no.
thought you wake up at like 6 a.m. or
Are
something.
you fucking kidding me? No, I wake up at like 10:30, 11 o'clock every
And it takes
fucking
an
day.
hour shit.
It's exactly it.
I
That's
do the same
exactly
thing.
it. And that's why I wake up 2 hours before I have to go to work.
there's
Because I
nothing
gotta
like-
take a big shit, you
Yeah.
know.
Let me ask you
And then there's
this:
part 2, you know, after you eat breakfast.
Would you rather have to? Would you
Part
rather
two
a
with
morning
number 2.
shit or a nighttime shit?
I do both.
I don't know. You know, I feel like a nighttime shit doesn't matter because you've already been up.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
maybe like emptying out before
You
you,
can't
go to
start
the bed
your day until you
means
get the
you don't
shit
have to
out.
wake up and shit. And
Yeah.
I don't like having to wake up and shit.
Yeah.
Because like if I
It's not the
wake
way
up
to
and I'm
start the
laying
day.
in bed and I'm all cozy, and then I gotta go beesh, and then I fucking
Gotta
get out of
beesh.
bed, and now that I beesh, now I gotta shit. You know.
That's fucking Italian.
That's fucking Italian.
That's understandable.
So yeah, I would rather a night shit, well,
Alright,
like
yeah, night
before bed shit.
Before
if I have
bed.
to wake up in the middle of the night to shit,
That's even the
it
worst kind
ruins
of
my
shit.
next day.
Yeah.
Because even if I go back to sleep for a little while, when I wake up, I feel like I'm not rested. I don't know. It's something that happens.
I've never had to wake up in the night
I have.
Number-
Oh, forget it.
sick or something.
When you
Number
poop in
3.
your dreams, you poop for real.
I'm saying it. It's coming
No, you
true.
gotta do it with the voice.
When you poop in your dreams, you poop for real.
Oh man.
All right, next up,
Number 3.
Danny Glover.
it's tough. Like,
Danny Glover's on the list?
no.
Shawn Michaels?
Still laughing about Danny Glover now.
Don Cheadle.
Get too old for this shit.
All right.
Bethesda game.
Oh.
I had to put it on the list. I
Wow.
fucking hate everyone that I've ever played. Everyone that I've ever played has been a steaming
Right, there goes
pile
our
of
sponsorship.
shit.
Starfield
I don't give
sucks.
a fuck. They can keep their fucking money. I don't give a fuck. Bethesda, no.
The best.
It's not.
game.
It's the worst game studio of all time.
Why?
Skyrim was one
Hands
of the
down.
top 3 best
Hands
games
down.
of all time.
I'd rather play an LJN game on the fucking Nintendo than play that shit.
Ninja Turtles.
I'd rather play fucking Dirty Harry on
I
the
played Dukes of Hazzard.
The Dukes of Hazzard that Chris wiped his ass with. I'd rather play that than a Bethesda game.
Oh man! All because you
Alright.
couldn't defeat a Yeti.
Fuck the Yeti. I played fucking Fallout garbage. I played fucking Oblivion garbage.
Oblivion was great.
All of them.
I-
I've given them
I'll give you
so
this.
many fucking
I
chances.
will give you this. I always felt secretly, and I love Bethesda, but I always felt that Fallout was a little overhyped.
They have the fucking
Little,
most
just a
broken
little.
games in the history of fucking video games.
That's the thing that's gonna.
That adds to their charm. It's the
They're
glitchiness.
fucking broken.
Well,
no, when
Starfield-
glitches make me have to undo hours of fucking
I
gameplay,
don't
they
know
can
if
go
people are
scratch their fucking
accepting
asses.
fucking janky bullshit.
They
in
can go scratch their
Starfield.
sisters' asses. I don't give a fuck.
Beesh.
No.
I mean,
Bethesda games.
It is a very Bethesda always has rocky
It had-
launches.
it had to
with
go on the
games
list.
that need
Skyrim
patching.
was not a rocky launch. Skyrim was one of the most
Video
critical
games is supposed to
successes
be
of
my
all time.
peace, not
Not
my
about the
fucking
success,
reason
I
for high
just
blood
mean it-
pressure.
Wasn't buggy. Skyrim, not too bad. Oblivion was.
I know Fallout,
Fallout.
76. I know
76
even Fallout
was.
4. Fallout 4. I remember starting off with the building elements. But anyway,
Garbage.
Rob's not wrong.
Garbage.
Number 2.
All right, number two.
Number 2.
Number 2 is traffic. Traffic, and especially
Thank you, Phil.
rubberneck traffic.
Deer Park Avenue.
Because there's nobody fucking in an accident on that side of the road. Everybody's got to slow down and see, oh, I saw the fucking body on the highway. What are you fucking staring for? Get the fuck out of here. Just drive to your fucking destination. What, are you going to add to it? Oh, I'm fucking CSI. I want to see the fucking end in the middle of the road. Get the fuck to your fucking destination.
Your road
You
rage
fucking
is
destination.
They want to see it.
unparalleled.
They wanna
My
see it.
blood pressure gets so
see the
fucking
body.
high.
You gotta
If I
stop.
have to sit in fucking traffic,
It's just
it's like
what it
I-
is, bro.
They want to see
blood
him face
boiling.
down in the
It's
spaghetti.
boiling.
He does
I
that.
love
Nothing-
going places. I hate fucking getting there.
He always bites his fist like my mother used to. It's
Like
an
the-
Italian thing.
Oh,
There it is.
Oh yeah.
That's it. I take
make
after my
myself feel
father
the
with
pain.
that shit. But I will say, like I said before, I have been listening to the Darth Plagueis book.
What's your
on
heart rate right
audio.
now, Rob?
Oh, forget it. Probably 150. And I have to say, I don't mind being in traffic so much because I'm listening to the story.
book.
It
agree.
distracts
I called
the
it.
mind.
It's on tape on one of these
It
episodes.
does.
I
It
said
does help. Well, that's why I started listening. I was like, I'm going to take your advice.
You almost
What
wanted
else
to take
do I
longer
have?
to get there because you want to keep listening to the story. Because
I'll
it's
set
so
my
good.
car to finish up the chapter.
Yeah.
Like, I'll probably
Sometimes.
finish Plagueis on the way to Brooklyn tomorrow. Speaking of Brooklyn Comic Con, come out and see me. I'll be the real life Peter Griffin over there. I think that Anya's going to be real life Meg one of the days. So,
Nice.
we'll unfortunately have Meg there for the show.
Shut up, Meg.
Shut up, Meg. And yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. And Seer Junda from Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor is actually going to be there. The teacher.
Okay. Yeah.
So
yeah.
she'll
You
be
are
there. That's gonna be
Mandalorian
really
no
cool.
more.
No, that's
No, I
the
know,
armor.
it's just-
Oh, I love her so much. She's so cool.
Din Djarin,
Din Djarin.
you are no longer a Mandalorian.
You are a Mandalorian. No
no
longer.
longer. You must go to this very
Oh, yeah,
far
listen
away
to the
place.
Plagueis book. The next one I'm going to listen to after this is Thrawn.
It's a
I'm
good
definitely going
choice.
to check out Thrawn because I think that
You're gonna love that because
Timothy Zahn
of
is the
this.
best Star Wars author of all time.
It's
There's
Luke,
just no
Han, and
question.
Leia. Like
You should do
just
the Heir to the
gonna-
Empire books first. I
You're gonna
think.
absolutely love that.
Well,
book.
the Empire I read. Like, I know those stories.
I know, but the audio
Oh,
version.
I'm
is
sure
good.
the audio books are
so
fantastic.
good.
But I already claimed
He does
for-
Lando's voice very good.
I already claimed Thrawn, and that was another funny story. I actually met him. I think I mentioned this on the show, but when I met Billy D. Williams, he's like, "You do that voice very well."
You do.
Colt
Shit
45.
was great.
Another
Works
Donald,
every
Donald
time.
Glover.
All right.
Number
Number
one. Give him a
one.
drum roll. Drum roll there.
And this is going to be a surprising one for number one.
Nissan
The thing that
Altima.
I hate the most, fucking karaoke.
What?
Really? That's
hate.
bullshit.
Oh, that's
Hey,
because you
why?
can't sing.
I hate
Cam must
karaoke.
not
He
be
actually
able
can
to-
sing. He's pretty
Especially
good.
when people
Shut.
fucking sing terribly. For me
Oh,
to have to sit through other people's karaoke when they're
That's-
just fucking drunk and wailing the song,
Yeah.
like
That's me.
It gets on my nerves so
never would've
much
guessed him
that I
saying
need to remove
either.
myself from the space that I can hear.
When's
them.
the last time you went to
Because
How many
karaoke?
times have you been stuck in
I've
a
been
karaoke
to karaoke
party?
and I've been dragged there by
Huh.
people I won't name.
Been dragged to karaoke like 3 times in my life.
No, it's
Yeah,
no.
I was thinking about doing a
Hate it.
karaoke fucking birthday.
I won't be there.
I guess that's something we're never doing
that'll
for
be
the
an
show.
adventure without Rob.
If you're drunk, karaoke's great.
But I don't
Number
get drunk.
one?
I don't. Well, it's
You guys
Yeah.
have weird number ones. You overthink this.
at least on Ultimate Drivers are worse than being fucking stuck.
I'm
in
trying to
karaoke.
think
can
of
just
like
observe his
when I go from a
road
0
rage.
to a 10 immediately.
Road rage.
It's like hearing somebody singing like
I could be.
0 to 10. Like it's
It is
fucking like done.
Rob is very critical of
done.
singers. Like when we were at that one Glass event,
you remember we were fucking
Rob,
crying. The guy,
you were
guy
crying.
was like
He
live
wasn't that
performing and it
bad.
was terrible.
The guy wasn't that bad.
and I had you and Adam fucking crying the whole time.
Rob was
It
just
like-
cracking jokes like fucking Jerry the King Lawler about this guy singing. He's just like,
Oh man,
wasn't
I was
that
ribbing
bad.
this guy bad for like fucking like it had to be like 40 minutes. This guy was playing this shit. I
Help.
just couldn't take it no more.
what if you go to a karaoke and everybody sings well?
No,
Why you still not happy?
I'm not gonna put myself in that situation.
Oh man.
Because what if somebody goes up and they're not good? That's it.
Then
Rob
you
goes home.
laugh at him. That's
Rob's
the
gonna
best
get in the
part.
car and go home. That's it.
Then you laugh at him. That's
I don't laugh. I don't think it's funny. I think it's an abrasion on my ears. That's why I didn't
You're
want to make it in a
nothing. You got
particular
no
order. 'Cause I
talent.
knew that number one was gonna be fucking.
I gotta show you a video after this, Rob, of the little guy in the city fucking screaming at the guy playing.
know what
You're nothing. You got no talent. You know
I've
what I'm talking
seen
about?
that guy.
You'll never be
Yes.
anything.
The
Go
guy-
get a gig.
The humpback of fucking.
Yeah, the little guy in
Walt
his
Smith over
New York
there.
City.
Fucking-
Yeah.
Oh my god, I should try to pull up the video, but we wouldn't be able to hear it.
No, but that shit's.
Where are you
hysterical.
from?
Yeah, he was
I
just
don't
really
like-
ribbing this.
I don't
guy.
like fucking trivia nights either. Gotta be honest.
I don't.
Trivia
That's
night.
a good
you know
one.
why?
Have that.
Because there's some motherfucker
been-
cheating
what year
there.
is it?
We went to the Game
been
of
to a
Thrones
few.
trivia. I know exactly what you're talking
Yeah.
about.
So some
Sopranos trivia.
can't stand the fact that sometimes they don't even have the right fucking answer, and I'm like, how are you hosting
The
this?
guy
trivia night?
hosting
Oh,
the
yeah,
trivia
they don't
never
know the
watches the
answers.
show, and he's just like being sarcastic about it too.
Right?
Did
yeah.
you guys come to that Sopranos trivia? At the,
Yeah,
the
and they
brewery
fucking
that's on?
cheated.
They fucked us.
Yeah.
I don't
Oh,
get
no, I
invited to
wasn't
any
there.
of these things.
No, this is
I
way
don't
back
remember.
in the
This
day.
is
This is a long time
pre-COVID
ago.
shit.
Yeah. This,
Uh,
yeah, we did a
We
Sopranos
just started
trivia.
getting back together.
We came up with the best name. It was the Gabagools, and there was another group there that was also the Gabagool.
I think I
Oh.
came
They were
up
just
with that name,
gabagool.
didn't I? I was there with you guys.
I don't know.
This
I've
was at
always,
the brewery, correct?
I've always liked the
Should've been the
Gabagools.
Joyeux
It's
Del.
like
But this
a-
was the brewery.
yeah.
Yeah, I was there.
And then you know what? You know how we lost?
Me, you, and
You remember
Shithead.
how we lost the trivia night? I remember now. It's
And
coming.
yeah,
it's
it was
coming
with
back
us
to
too.
me. You remember this?
I don't.
We had to answer, and it was what did
Tony. do at the
Tony
end.
do? What did Tony?
died?
What weapon did Tony use on Ralph Cifaretto when they were fighting? I think it was Ralph Cifaretto.
Coffee pot,
No, it was the bug spray.
bug spray, and then he cracked
I
him
mean,
over
he
I
the-
fucking
wrote-
he
Yeah,
smashed his head on the fucking thing a bunch of times.
Isn't that when he sprays him with
and
the
then
bug
he
spray
choked
though?
him to death, pretty much.
He sprays
Well,
him with the raid.
He really just kept. No, he got sprayed with the raid.
That's what the question was what did Tony? What weapon did he use on Tony?
He hits him
and-
over the head with a coffee pot after he can't see.
The answer was raid, and I put
Oh,
put bug spray.
What does
And
Tony get used
somebody
on
else
him?
said raid, so they got the
Or
point
what Tony
and they
gets
won.
used on him, or
I
what does
think
Tony use
this-
on Ralph?
Did
Somebody used bug spray or raid.
Ralph
yeah, the thing,
sprays
that's
him
the
in the
problem
eyes
with
with
the
bug
trivia
spray.
question. Is it a clear trivia question? Like
The trivia question, I answered bug spray, and somebody put raid, so they got the win. They won the game.
How do you know it's raid? Do you see it? It says
I
raid.
guess it was
It does
raid.
say raid.
It does
I do
say raid.
remember. Yeah, because he starts throwing up later. Anyway,
But no bugs. Right, same fucking thing.
it's definitely yeah, it's
No,
good.
you
enough.
hate
They
Kurt's
just
bug
didn't like
spray.
you. They just looked at you and said, "We don't like you."
That's what it was.
This
This
guy in
guy
Italian.
thinks-
Look at this McFuck
guy
trying to
thinks-
answer all the questions.
I'm partially Italian.
I know. They don't know that.
Probably I speak more Italian than any.
Papiti boops.
Parlo un poco italiano.
Un poco, un poco.
Un poco.
Io sono italiano.
Take us home, Rob.
This has been an interesting episode of the Break Room Podcast. We touch a lot of subjects, video games, everything that
Rest in
enrages
peace,
me.
Iron Sheik.
The Iron
Rest in peace,
Sheik.
Iron Sheik.
And I
Sheik
did want to
baby.
mention that the Iron Sheik and the Hulk Hogan thumb wrestling figures were the very first wrestling figures I ever had. They were actually my brother's toys before I was born. So
Hollywood
the
Blonde
Hulk
Jabroni.
Hogan and the Iron Sheik were the very first two wrestlers that I even knew who they were.
Sure.
The very, very first. So Iron Sheik was there for the very beginning of my my wrestling fandom, and even my parents knew him, and because I think I've mentioned this before, like multiple generations of my family have been wrestling fans. Back to my great grandparents used to go to the shows and watch the shit live.
Shicky baby.
And
Rest
him
in
and
peace.
Sarge,
Probably
right?
watching in the Gorgeous George days and stuff, which is the influence of many people don't know who Gorgeous George is anymore, but he's the influence of Ric Flair. Anybody that's like hoity-toity in the ring with the flair. And,
Toy.
I mean, even superstar
Garvin.
Billy Graham. And then he even influenced people like Bob Dylan. He influenced Muhammad Ali when he would do the rhymes and all that kind of stuff. That was directly from Gorgeous George.
Sure.
So it's it's crazy how wrestling has had this influence on the media for even longer than people give it credit for. But
Continues to.
but it continues to, and that's why we still talk about it. That's why we have these belts and these autographs and these
Oh, should I show the
experiences.
autograph before we tune out too?
Turn the
Let me show
microphone and see if you can show the autograph on the microphone too.
You can see
Here's-
that if he turns the.
There's JR's autograph right in the.
Or you could just follow our social media channels.
Yeah,
and
I mean
see
we got
full
pictures of it.
high def
but, I
photos
mean,
of that.
how cool is that? Next to McFoley there.
It's the Attitude Era signature belt.
I don't
Got to
think you
keep it
can-
going. Keep it going.
There you go.
Good God Almighty, killed him.
Good God Almighty, he signed it.
That's right. Rob, take
But,
us home, brother.
Thank you so much for tuning into the Break Room podcast. We really appreciate all the love and the comments and stuff. But if you like the show, please subscribe and tell your friends to subscribe to the show and turn those notifications on so that you see when Vin diligently posts the little clips of our shows and puts the whole thing together for us. But we wanted to sign off here, Snoochie Boochies, and may the force be with you.